Hi everybody, how y'all doing? Sorry for being late. Stop, let me see who's here. Welcome, Shayna. Thank you for being here as always. Welcome to the live stream. Please subscribe, join the channel. Actually, I want to talk about it a little bit more later on because I'm gonna ask you guys not only to subscribe and like and everything like that. I would love for you to share videos that you love with your family and friends so that we can get this channel going, because I feel like it's a bit stuck for several reasons, but I'm gonna go back to it. Anyway, how you all been doing? No, my channel hasn't been demonetized. Some of my videos are getting demonetized, which really is so arbitrary. Sometimes it gets demonetized for like, maybe I'll figure it out one day. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. It's especially annoying the fact that it's like kind of a waste of time. But whatever. Hey Jax. Hi Jax, how you doing? Okay, let's see who's here. Hello. What are you guys saying? Oh yeah, Ranko. Shalom Rebecca, the Jew hate from Cat Influence is getting worse and worse. She had a dude on her podcast and it was like 9/11 was an inside job from Jews. I thought there were Muslims in it. I thought that were Muslims in the... I'm confused. Yeah, I think she went off the rails. So I heard that what's happening with Cadence is that her husband belongs to a sect of a church that is very... let's say that the last pope they approve of was the pope during the World War II era. So that's this kind of Christianity that her husband believes in. So maybe, you know, she got his virus. That's the thing, you know, this. If you go to sleep with one thing, don't be like... I don't know. I just don't understand how it works. Also, if she is promoting 9/11 conspiracies, I got a video demonetized, the one that I republished with the Harvard, because I added a photo of an article that talks about 9/11 conspiracies in the academia, because I was talking about that. Like there was a staff member in Harvard that was promoting 9/11 conspiracies, and seriously, I got demonetized because of that photo. Yeah, of 9/11. I guess if you don't add the photo and just promote it without showing images from 9/11, then you're good. Yeah. By the way, like, comment, share, whatever. Everything like that. Let's promote it. I know this live is a bit unscheduled. The reason being is that I was super focused on editing videos that are super cool, like the Jew, like I know I shared the slides because I wanted to get your opinions on the slides on the, you know, Judaism versus Islam versus Christianity, but those are just the slides, right? Most of the content is obviously the audio, which I kind of think I'll edit in several ways, right? Short version, a more politically correct version versus non-politic. I'm thinking about it, but the first thing I wanted to do is to get the slides approved by you all. And the other thing is, okay, for example, the video on Einstein also took me a really long time, which after publishing, like it got demonetized, but then I went like photo by photo to see if there is any photo that is apparently, even if there is like a fire photo, like video with fires, it's also might get demonetized. But there are a few videos that get demonetized without reasoning, and I feel like every time I say the word Zionism, then those get demonetized. which is super annoying because how important that is. The thing with Einstein that, like, people can say, no, but everywhere is being promoted as German-born. It's not like they say most of the time, right? But it's clearly associates him with Germany, which he didn't want to be associated with. And no offense to the Germans living this today, which, by the way, I understand, like, most of, like, the denazification process and everything, and the casualty toll in Germany was enough of a trauma for most Germans to be, completely, it's okay, you can correct your ways, it's normal. But for him, he didn't want to be associated with that because it feels personal. It feels personal when the way it happened to him. And yet it's getting ignored. Why? Because if you'd notice, this is what I'm trying to fight, like they everywhere, like they will never ever associate anything positive with the Jews or Israel. Like on principle, they would find a way to describe somebody and also completely like take passages out of context to make it seem like, oh yeah, Einstein was critical of the Zionist movement, and if he were alive today, then he would have not supported Israel, which is really unethical thing to do because you completely take it out of context. And if Einstein had a choice in it, he would say, this is a conversation about the inner politics of the Jewish nation. Therefore, it's not for you. It's not for you because, inside every country, there are management conversations. How do you approach a certain issue? How do you solve problems? It was not meant for foreign ears, who want to bring down a country. It was not meant for that. And yes, and still they do it all the time, which is annoying, like, to say the least, because this is exactly, you see, this has been happening against us for decades, right? And now, of course, we have the residues of like people like Kedets. Oh, how can they be so conspiratorial? I'm sorry, you've been brainwashed for decades, calling Einstein German when he got a thoroughly like Jewish education. Yes, he did study in the German system, but that would make him a German scientist. By the way, the German scientists were way off in even understanding how to create something like an atomic bomb. There is a difference between Jewish education and German education, and then you like, and those are lies, those are just lies. But the thing is, like, like, this is not for you, right? Like, if I criticize the government, that doesn't mean I want the country to disappear. Okay, it doesn't work that way, which is insane. It's something that is being done to the Jews all the time, like all the time. Super annoying. So yeah, it bothers me because why? Because what we're seeing now around the world, when you lie about a population, there are side effects. So yeah, how did she get those conspiracy? How would you not get those conspiracy theories when the world for decades never ever stopped, to be honest, for centuries, for millennia, brainwashed the population to be super vigilant, or I don't know, like have the guard up against anything that has to do with anyone Jewish, to the point where it creates blind spots for everything else. So no, Germany was not close to nukes. They were not close to nukes at all. When the way that nukes are being, when it was published, the German scientists, they implemented like microphones to hear how close the German scientists were to that discovery, and they discovered that the Germans were far from getting an atomic bomb. Way behind. They didn't know, not they weren't even close. So no, they weren't. They weren't close to it. So so this thing, right? So what happened? So for centuries the world had been fed that everything Jewish is a conspiracy theory. And now that the Jews are in the front lines of fighting evil ideologies, by the way, Jews somehow end up in the front line of fighting evil ideologies way too often, but now it's, the Mohammedans. Why would anyone believe that this is really like after being for centuries being lied to? And if the Jews represent the evilness in the world, why would they not think that the Mohammedans are great human beings? And the thing is, like, when they figured it out, when you're like, oh, maybe there are more things, because now there are I don't know, stabbing sprees everywhere, women are getting violated everywhere, and there aren't enough Jewish people in numbers to justify it. Maybe there is something more than that. But then the theory goes to, oh, those are the Jews who brought these people on purpose, right? Like, no matter, like, as an Israeli, I can tell you how many times I told to the stupid Europeans, you guys don't know what you're getting into. Don't do that. What did they tell me? Oh, you sweetheart, I know Jews are evil, so nothing you say makes any sense. We don't trust you. But now I am the one who conspired to bring those people into your country? I have nothing nice to say about it, but me. And yes, some Jews and Israelis might think and say, oh, they deserve it. Because you know what? Kinda do. Kinda do. Kinda do. But you know who doesn't deserve it? All those people who kept their values straight and understood that they're being manipulated, and all those people who fought and supported Israel and morality and saw through it, that now get screwed because they couldn't voice their opinions anywhere. And this is why when I was like, Cadence Owens, like, whatever. No, she's just stupid. But that's 100%. Don't, like, this is why I say, like, those are not simple people to have those elaborate conspiracy theories against the Jews. It comes from the elite. It always comes from the elite. The elite had managed the media the whole time to make sure you'd have this evil Jews image in your head. And now it's blowing up, and now it's not controllable. They thought they could control it, right? They thought it was be like, okay, if we only do this and that, then it's going to be controllable. But now it's blowing up. Because if you lie, even small lies like that, there's like, oh, Jews are a minority, so who cares? Like, they would never be able to have enough people to speak out for them. Now it blows up in everybody's faces. And same with obviously with like the reality of it. This is what is happening, like, which is, yes, it's annoying. It really is annoying. And you know what's annoying to me? By the way, AP and David would do it all the time, right? And also many talking about the Jewish values, right? Like, I'm sorry, like the Christian world, yes, it did adopt Jewish values. But you talk about Judaism and Jews without having Jews present ever. It's like the thing, and I heard it so many times, like, you know what it feels like to be, like, this is something a lot of people say, right? Like, what's frustrating about being an Israeli or a Jew is like everybody talks about you. Everybody debates about you, but you are never invited to the conversation. And when you try to speak up, nobody listens to you. Nobody. because if you're a Jew, you lose credit. So you're not getting listened to. But they're talking about things that have to do with Judaism and Jews and our nationality and our, our story. And yet we're not getting invited to the conversation purposefully. And AP, when David would then be, they do it all the time. All the time. I was like, you know what? You have an Israeli friend. You have a Jewish friend. And I know I'm not the only one. Be fair. This is like nice. Yes, just talk over. To be honest, AP is doing a pretty good job. He is researching everything very properly. But still, it's not the same. Which, I don't know, it's just super annoying to me. And I feel like, okay, now that I actually only got half of my ramble today out, but the other half I'm gonna do in between, because I don't know if you guys realize, but I'm trying to have in the end of this overview, I want to have you guys on this channel to talk to me if you're into it. So that's the goal. And between, wait, I'm gonna read this super chat. Theoretic traps. Hungary offered an alternative to the Muslim immigration problem, which was to keep them in the Middle East but help rebuild their homes. No one listened. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that really should work. Like now we have all those territories. Like everybody is like, we have to have Israel, like free Palestine. What about this amount of like empty space now created in Syria? Like half of the population is gone. Don't you think there is room there? I think there is room there. It's way bigger than Israel. So how about you populate those areas and then like come and ruin a new place? Nah. Yeah, Hungary was on it like 100%. Like Hungary, Czech Republic, you guys are. We don't forget our friends. We have very few of them, which makes it pretty easy to remember. But the Hungary and the Czech Republic are two places that we know, we remember. What are you guys saying? I'm sure an AP and David wouldn't mind. The thing is that I talk on a completely different, like we are not on the same realm, which I understand. Like I did talk to them about it, and like I told AP, but it's not like I think they can invite me for like some specific stuff, which they did, but in general, like. They have a completely different dynamic than what I do too. So I don't know how to describe it exactly. Like they make more fun of things, right? Like when the thing was happening with Iran, when they were launching rockets, they were like, oh, like this is such a pathetic power display. And it's like, I don't know, because it's also testing where are the blind spots that Israel has. And also like, the way that the Jordanians are and things like that. They can see what was intercepted by whom and build up like a blind spot for the future. It's not, and this was like, it's not that useless. It's like, it's actually pretty scary. And they were like looking at me like, obviously it's like, it's a bummer. Like I'm being a bummer, right? It's like they were making fun. I was like, no, I can think of 100% like of million ways of how they can screw the world even without having the alleged perceived power they should have. Same with like Erdogan, right? Is like, yes, he's a delusional person. He's not gonna be Iran, because if you wanna be Iran, you have to, you know, like the way Khomeini did, you have to start in your 20s when you're super young. Like, just like Putin cannot be Stalin, like my dad said. Putin cannot be Stalin because Stalin started when he was a child to be Stalin. You don't achieve Stalin's achievements unless you start when you as a toddler, right? When I say achievements, I mean like atrocities. So Erdogan just doesn't have the time, the technical like length of life to achieve what he wants to achieve. But that doesn't mean he cannot screw Europe by, making sure that the Europeans are gonna get flooded. That doesn't mean that he cannot. By the way, like they have a lot of resources, resources like metal and things like that. They can intercept that. That doesn't mean they can not sabotage shipments in the Mediterranean. That doesn't mean that they don't have ways to make your life just increasingly more miserable. And the way the world is right now is very volatile. So even if his fantasies and his abilities do not align, that doesn't mean that you can still get to the same outcome just because how volatile the world is right now. So just the way it is. Yeah, the relic tribes, thank you for your support. Don't forget the checks for sending Israel used World War II weapons left behind by the Germans, which helped you return the tide for Israel in 1948 war. Yes, we will never ever forget that. That is true. Thank you for your support, the Relic tribes. Guys, your support means a lot to me, and just sharing my videos as much as you can. Oh, by the way, I feel like I didn't appropriately thank Jax. I saw she brought 5 new memberships. Jax, you're so amazing. Thank you so much. You guys, your support means the world. It takes super duper, like the amount of work I have to put for everything that I'm making for you is insane. Like really insane. Which to me is like, and then I make less than a minimum. Like it's under a minimum wage for everything. And I'm an engineer, right? I used to make way more than the minimum. Like if I go back to my real profession, I'll make 10 times more than what I'm making now, which is really frustrating for somebody who wants to do it because I feel like it matters. But I also have my own life to consider. So unless this, this is why I'm like, you know what? I need your help. Like, please share this channel as much as you can. Support any way you can. I just did a Patreon now. I'll figure out how to do the perks. I have a Discord that I'm gonna share and test with you at the end today. Yeah, but I feel like I want to go back to that because I really do want to go through the coin. That's where engineering out of work. What are you guys asking? Why am I doing this? I took a year off. I was traveling, and when I was abroad, 7th of October happened, which really drove me to the place where I made this anti-Semitism documentary, which I worked for several months, like a couple of months after getting back to Israel from this trip, because when this 7th of October happened, we got like tourists. So one of the local, like actual Peruvian woman there, her child or somebody she knew got hurt on 7th of October. So she organized, I'm saying the local Peruvian community organized just for her to speak about it. And she did speak about it in Spanish, and we were holding like bring the hostages back and things. And of course it was like, and Israel didn't retaliate yet. Nothing happened yet. And then we had Europeans coming to shout at us, also like getting called Heil Hitler at us. And then I was like, I was so shocked. I was so shocked. It completely like threw me off. I was like, I have to understand it. And then this is why I made my anti-Semitism video, which by the way would have never been seen by anyone. I was so lucky that I contacted AP on Twitter, and like really I'm here with you guys thanks to him. This video that I put my soul into was up for like 2 months, I don't know how long, before like AP shared it, like maybe a month, I don't know how long. And nobody saw it. Like obviously nobody saw it, and it's impossible to even, I don't know. It would not have happened, let me tell you. And there's like AP and David Wood were the ones who were like, we know that you're in high tech, but we really need people like you to talk on YouTube. So they actually are the ones. They even gave me like initial money to support to start a channel, which is insane. Like they are amazing human beings, amazing people, which is like why I say yes. I understand that why. Like it bothers me that they are not bringing a Jewish perspective, but I know that it would be a bummer, right? Like my geopolitical analysis is kind of a bummer. And I understand it now because actually today somebody reposted a tweet that I made when the Labour government was chosen. I was like, I wrote RIP United Britain, RIP United Kingdom. I mean, if we went, but just so you know, if we went through Oslo, there is a chance you get through it too. And then today somebody reposted it. It's like, I went back to this tweet and she was right. She was brutal, but she was completely right. And I think brutal, it never sells that much. It's so much more fun to make fun of Erdogan and his delusions than be like, yeah, well, pathetic men with delusions can actually cause way more damage than you can imagine. Which is a bummer, I know, but it's hard for me not to be like a bummer like that, so. Oh my God, AP and David Wood are amazing. Anyway, I'm here because of them. So they're convinced me, they're like, David Wood was like, you know what, there will be time. We're like, this is not worth it. This is, and like, you are just putting work on it. And it's like, it doesn't go anywhere and you feel like you're stuck, but continue, like, keep going. It's in the keep going. The consistency is key. It like do not fall for this trap because like I promise you're gonna get there. I was like, and this is how I feel right now, like because in the beginning I don't know why I had way more people sending me support on buy me coffee and things like that, but now it's kind of stagnant. Like I'm uploading content, but it like even like the video I made that reached more than 180,000 people. Like it doesn't make real money. It doesn't even make the amount of money that I put into making it. So it's super hard. So I really rely on the buy me coffee and the hope that it will get somewhere. But yeah, I see what they were saying. It is really hard. That's amazing. Give your patron the ballroom dancing video as a first video. But that's online though. That's not like, but I guess I'll do a first video as in, it's not my video. But yeah, the link, the secretive link, and be like, don't share it with anyone. Let them work hard for it. I want to go through. Yeah, post it. Profit. Clan Lagan. I debate hard, but mean no harm. I don't have any problems with debates. I don't remember. But thank you so much for your support. It means a lot. Like, I like pushback. Pushback is opening for conversation, Or I like tribes. Will you let people call in your live stream by link? I'm gonna let people, I'm gonna test it out today, right at the end. I'm messing up the order completely, but I do want to go through the world map and talk about the current world situation before I gonna torture you all with it. Me figuring out how to let you guys on this channel to talk on this channel. Like, I'm gonna do it through Discord. I'm gonna share the link onto Discord just because this is what I figured out, and I'll try to make it work. And it's the first time I'm doing it, so I'll do it in the end, as well as I actually thought about only having this only with like channel members, so you know, I don't know, just for them to get, I don't know why channel members are like, I feel like they would have more patience with me, and because it's more exclusive. But I was like, let's just do it with the public. Wait. Rebecca, you should allow people to sponsor videos. What do you think? Sure. I just need to get a sponsorship proposal, I guess, which I don't really have right now. So, I mean, it depends on what they're wanting me to sponsor, but I'm not against it. Sorry for drinking. I'm thirsty. Yeah. I always, you know, guys, I've always been like brutally honest, which makes it fun for the moment people are like, oh, I told you so. But then people don't appreciate my I told you so. So it's like, that doesn't make you ever popular. I mean, people who are brutal are never popular. All right, let's go through what's happening, what's the status right now. I'm gonna go like a quick rundown. Feel free to add things. I'd love to hear your additions as we go. I might open this map again and be like, hey, is anyone here from, and let's hear what's going on there. All right. So let's start. I'm just gonna like, you know, go a little bit, just to run through. So what we had recently. So Lebanon, I don't know. I talked about Lebanon so many times, but Lebanon, how is it like bankrupt? Yeah, I just had a moment for. You guys are making. I'm sorry. Oh. Yeah, making fun of my gulping sounds. Yeah, I'm sorry. They're loud, super loud. Anyway, so yeah, Lebanon is a bankrupt state. Now, like, I love this person that came to my Lebanon video who tried to claim that Lebanon is not Hezbollah. Guys, there is no Lebanon, okay? It's nothing. There is no Lebanon anymore. I don't like pretending that there are countries who don't exist. Like Yemen. Yemen doesn't exist. It's absolutely nothing now. It's just bandits. Same with Libya. By the way, nobody talks about Libya. What's up with Libya? But basically bandits. Like, Libya doesn't exist anymore. So, yeah, I am. Lebanon went on a power outage. And because, you know, they used up all of their energy. Now, I'm not sure where it stands now, but the last power plant that they had still functioning ran out of materials or just broke down or something, and they were living their life, you know, in the darkness, like the whole country went dark. I actually don't know. My snippy at Carlos Rodriguez. Your snippy attitude should get less aggressive, may help. Thank you for support, Carlos. I don't know how you all feel about it, which is funny to me, like, because I remember you had a super chat where you called me bitchy with like 3 dots. So I have a snappy attitude. Thank you for your support, though. I have a less of a snappy attitude. I think if I didn't have a snappy attitude, I would never have started this channel because I was so upset, you know, just like frustrated to make this channel happen. But yeah. Somebody says Israelis are more direct. Yeah. Wow. The communication style of Americans and Israelis is very different. Very, very different. But that's also a thing, right? That's also a thing. Like you barely see like real Israelis speak. I think part of it is because of a completely different communication style. All right. So, okay. So Lebanon is out of power. By the way, Syria is not, I mean, Syria is nothing, but people are talking about Syria getting their arsenal out just with Lebanon to try to aim on Israel, you know, things like that. Just the usual fun. I'm not going to get into it too much. West Bank is also, you know, you're getting more and more more unrest as well in the West Bank, which is like, you know, it's just a matter of time before this area is going to turn into the next Gaza. And there was a suicide bombing attempt in Tel Aviv that ended up in being successful, but not as successful as much as it could have been. It was close to a synagogue. That synagogue hosted 80 people, but it ended up being detonated, like that exploded far next to a truck, but like not anywhere with people. So the only person who got his maybe virgin, I don't know how it works if it's a failed attempt. Yeah, he's gone now, but the fun part is like, yeah, we're gonna see the suicide bombers again. Yay. Like, it's crazy. It's insane, but hopefully they're gonna get things under control. Gaza. The Gazans get nicely treated. The fun part from Gaza is that there are rumors that Sinwar's brain cancer is back. Yeah. So I don't have anything nice to say. I mean, I have a lot of nice things to say, but it's like only nice when you talk about Sinwar in that kind of context. If it was anyone else, you know, it's like usually like, may the cancer, you know, the cancer has Sinwar. This is the kind of situation we're having with Sinwar. A fun thing from Turkey, right? So after the assassination by whoever that was it? I'm sorry, I don't know, in Tehran, of Hania, his sons went to get his money, you know, that he embezzled. And the $5 billion, $5 billion that he embezzled. His sons went to get it just to discover that maybe they were like Hania miscalculating in putting his money in Turkey, because Turkey had taken the money and said, you know, we're gonna use it for, like, this money is meant for the fight against Israel, which amazing. So $5 billion dollars had been taken by Turkey, while Turkey with the intent to use it against Israel. And seriously, I have many ideas about how to better utilize this money, you know, because your population is suffering from high inflation, Mr. Erdogan. But, you know, everybody has their own priorities. For example, Lebanon. Like, you know, electricity is less important than rockets. You have to have fuel for rockets, but fuel for electricity is overrated. Priorities, super important. What are you guys saying? So what's more fun stuff? Of course, we have the situation in Bangladesh. And what's my favorite thing about the situation in Bangladesh is that it was all over the news. I don't know how long, like a week, 2 weeks ago. How long has it been? And now nothing. Complete silence. Like nothing. Nobody talks about it. Was it resolved? I have a feeling it's still going, but I guess it's old news now. Like who cares, right? Like I don't know. Like same with Pakistan, who cares about the Hindus? Who cares about what they're going through? Who cares about like Pakistan, like how many? 2 million, like kicked out 2 million Afghans of their country, out of their country. Did it like you know? Pips. And like so many ongoing atrocities. We have Sudan, we have so many, like Congo, we have a lot of atrocities going on. But for some reason, and then it's like old news because who cares, even though it's still going on. Who gets all the attention? Gaza, of course, because now that the masks are dropping, when you get all these influencers like, oh, free Palestine, like explicitly calling for countries to annihilate Israel, I don't see that they talk about the fact that there are Palestinians living in the land of Israel. You know how small this area is? Look, very small. So people are like cheering for the attack of this area. Do they care if Palestinians will be like? Do they even mention it? Do they even be like, oh yeah, we should send nukes to this area? Do they even talk about all the Palestinians that will perish? No, because they don't give it. The mask is slipping. They literally like, they don't mention it at all. They don't mention the Palestinians. Like the mask is slipping. Nobody talks about them for real anymore. It's now all about Jews. That's it. Like the mask, like they're dropping it. They're upping it. Amazing. And they have the mental health issues of the right, which I really don't think like those people, like I don't, there's like the people are saying, like people are arguing with me as like I say that the nationalist part in National Socialism was dominant, yes, very dominant, but it came out like those racial ideas and things, and like this is what the woke is doing as well. This is completely like those are left social Marxist ideas, right? And it's like I never like those are far right. Fine, so it got published as far right, like, but the socialism is strong there as well. So and to this day, it was like, oh, she's saying the Nazis were, the National Socialists were left wing. Yeah, well, first of all, yes, they were. A lot of the things that they believed comes from Marxism. But let's be honest. Let's be really, really, really honest, right? Left and right. This is a spectrum that belongs to democracy. There is no left and right. There is no voting. Right? There is no, how did it, I think it started with like those who believed in one idea walked to the right, and those who believed in a different idea walked to the left, or something like that. Right? Like just like arbitrary, or like, I don't know, left or right. Like, so when does it work? Left and right only works when you choose, like when you have a choice, right? But it doesn't work when you believe in fascism. It doesn't work if you believe in Marxism. Those things are just, it breaks down because you don't have anywhere, you don't have a choice. This whole conversation, like you don't have a choice, right? So they don't do democracy, right? They go to the left and they go to the right, and they promote the same agendas 1-to-1, just to unify it to their lunacism. There is no left and right there. There ain't. So yeah, there in a sense there is, okay, you can argue it's like right and there's left. No, but like let's be honest. Maybe we should stop calling Marxism the left as well. You know, just 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 completely outcasts those ideologies from the political system, because the left and right political system works when you have a choice between left and right. And those ideologies, there is no choice in those ideologies. There is no conversation. There is just nepotism. And the only thing that matters is your skin color. It's just the right is when your skin color is white, and the left is when your skin color is black. And you want to tell me that those are different ideologies. Whatever. Jax, just because. Thank you so much, Jax. You're amazing. I love you so much. So yeah, maybe we should stop cooperating. Like, I don't want to. Just like I made this video with Einstein when I said, not just, his nationality was Jewish. Just say the Jewish scientist Einstein. You don't have to say German scientist. You can say Jewish scientist. It's okay. It's okay. So let's as well, like now, like, it's funny. It's funny because it's like the political correctness. Like, you know what? Speech matters. Speech was hijacked. Speech was hijacked because using left or right to describe ideologies that are fundamentally non-democratic is a calculated strategy from people who pretend to be right and left but actually have the exact same opinions to, to infiltrate the democratic system and to get rid of their opponents and to label them. So no, Marxism is not left. National Socialism is not right. Those are just ideologies that are, you have the Venn diagram, you have democracy, and you have democracy with more like left-leaning, more government management, or there are so many different ways to describe left and right. But like you have like more left and you have more right-leaning, like how much of the management is private, how much, by the way, you can have communism that is privatized because cooperatives, when I read the manifesto, the first half, when I described like, yeah, you have to have like this organization that makes sure you have kindergartens and you have a shareholding in it, and you work, provides work. And I thought like, wait, isn't it corporate? Corporates actually like embody the communistic vision, like the first half of it, because the second half is just like the revolution always has to get going. Like you always have to rebel. You have to go against the system. But the first half is like corporates have kindergartens in them. You have a share, in the companies, in the company, and there's like you work for them, like and then they can basically control everything because they're corporates. Like, okay, so it's privatized communism. Corporates can also be communistic, even though they're private. So it's not like, and also like, does it matter if like, are we gonna say that like Marxism with the government taking over or the corporate taking over, this is still centralized powers, and that is the difference, right? This is the right is like, okay, decentralize as much as you can, and then the left is like centralize, just one pyramid. And I don't want to break that down completely either, because obviously pyramids structures work better when you need order in certain situations, right? But yeah. Oh, somebody's fixing me like private is not corporate. I think it's maybe more American terminology. I guess corporates are like, I just mean like non-governmental when I say private. But yeah, maybe saying that corporates are private is not exactly correct. So I think maybe it's like, you know what, those are not left. It's not right because it's just basically undemocratic. I'm sorry, like the Kamala Harris like situationship that like, oh my God. By the way, just so you know, I spent a lot of like some summers in my childhood in Chicago, which I was like, I was never allowed to go to certain areas in the city, but you know, which is to me sounds like, okay, this is an area is like that I don't think I can go back to. I don't know if you heard about like this behavior situationship they had with Kamala Harris. Like, I'm sorry, like you're on the same side, right? Like, which proves those are people who are out of the democratic system because they're not there to debate and talk and explain like why their free Palestine policy is good for this planet. No, they're there to build a pyramid that they would stand at the top of because they're delusional. Like, and of course, there is a correlation between mental issues and them, like, or they just get paid for it. I mean, what are you saying, Yanks? You guys are. I see that. Where are you guys? Wait, you guys look. It looks like you're. Right, it looks like your guys are arguing, but I don't know what you guys are saying. It's too hard to follow. Sorry for the pause. Oh, yeah. I saw it, like Kamala Harris being drunk. Yeah, that would explain a lot. Oh my God. But is she ever not drunk? Because like, maybe like I wasn't too interested in anything she had to say, but wow, this woman, like I mean, seriously, somebody should check if she is not like a robot. Like, she could be run by AI or something, but like a very outdated AI. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw, but Jordan Peterson brought a woman that was like that. The former president of Harvard, Claudine Gay, plagiarized from. And surprise, surprise, she was a very like academically well-deserved recognition person who was a Black woman. And I was like, this for us, like, because when those things were happening, I also wanted to get more into the Black community because I was like, you know what, Jews are designated for annihilation, but Blacks are always designated for slavery. And I actually cut out parts where I talked more about that in the anti-Semitism video because, like, you know, I'm not as well versed in it. And the thing is, like, I said, like, and I said it back then to my father, is like, I don't believe them that there wasn't a competent Black woman. Like, I don't believe it. I think there must have been, like, if they really. And then my dad was like, you know, it takes a lot to educate a person. And if there is a real big disparity between the means, then yeah, it might take several generations until, like, there is a good pool of Black women that you can pick out from, right? But even now, there are Black professors that are way more, like, that are there by merit. So, but then I came like, but what? So I was like, okay, makes sense. It's like, things take time. But then I was like, when he talked about it, she said like, listen, no, they would use the, how is it, like the correcting, like, like the black people don't need to have the same grades as white people to get to the Ivy League. So they would use that to bring a very particular type of black people, those who are angry and represent the anti-establishment, Antifa type people, right? And they wouldn't let black people who have the grades without the benefits, right? Like they could have been accepted just with their grades and merit, without being, given like a pass. They wouldn't get accepted because they weren't angry Antifa people. And I was like, you know what? And then you have somebody like Kamala Harris, which I don't understand. I think she's whatever. She's ambiguous. To be like, I was like, don't you see that this is a strategy? Like, if you put people who don't deserve, like, they do it on purpose. Like I said it on that video, right? They put, and the black people who deserve to go to Ivy League don't get the option, because if it doesn't fit their Antifa agenda, the DEI people. So what happens is that people are convinced that black women are stupid, because if the smart black women are not gonna fall for that, and they don't promote them, they chase them, they threaten them, they blackmail them until they disappear into oblivion. And it's like, okay, so how is it not like an attempt to lay the ground to prove that black people are too stupid to be anything but slaves? Like, seriously. Like, this is the long-term implication of it, is okay, so they're gonna let somebody who is a complete fraud, like Claudine Gay, or this stupid person. And I was like, there is no way. Like, it's like, no, I really, like, I said it back then. I think they do it on purpose. I think they do it on purpose. They do it on purpose to bring those populations down. Anyway, because don't get it wrong, like those who invented woke, yeah, it's like, this is what I talked about in the anti-Semitism video, but I didn't want to get too much into the blacks, because those who invented woke were invented, when I mean invented, they sat in a room. Just so you know, it's all strategized. Everything is strategized. They planned it meticulously decades ago to create this outcome. Like this is not just randomly at all. Like, it's not random that you get the impression that the world, like the media and the education system, is like gradually more and more painting Jews as evil people. They did it, and they built this strategy from scratch, and they it's all planned. But as I said, like, those people who created that, they were the communists, right? The National Socialists and the Socialists, right? But the Marx, like, communists, they did it. And I said, like, but for those two, like, by the way, same with Marxism thought about black people, like, he was a racist, but that is fundamental. That is fundamental in their thinking. And I was thinking, like, there is no way that, and they were the ones who invented woke. They invented woke. And it's like, and I just thought, like, there is no way they really supported the black liberation or like anything like that. No. I was like, you know what, but I'm gonna set it aside because I don't have enough information when it comes to the Black community. But that was just like a hinge, you know? It's like, because it's the same ideology, they just dressed it up differently. But it was well thought of. It's not out of the blue. It's like something that was meticulously planned. So, yeah, this Islamist, National Socialist, and common, like this alliance is not new at all. Oh, thank you. Stephen Barclay is lending me your. Thank you for giving me your First Amendment right. Speaking freely. But yeah. John Wayne warned about communists taking over in the 1960s. There were a lot of in the government as well. There were a lot of people that were like implement, like, you know. Anyway, it's a very different kind of video from what I was planning, I have to say. But by the way, surprise, surprise, of course, Kamala backed out of the debate she was supposed to be having on the 4th of September against Trump. But and another video I'm working on. So you guys, you think I forgot? I didn't forget. So I made a live reaction on the conversation, live reaction, like live video with all the things I had to comment on the conversation that Trump had with Elon Musk. But so I also made a video, but it takes some time because I really went like, so the thing is, like, I went through all the a lot of the articles that were written about this debate, and I was like, first of all, nobody is talking about like the actual, in principle, right? In principle, nobody is disputing whether or not it's bad to have illegal immigrants in the country. Nobody, like, ideologically speaking. But a lot is like, okay, it's not 20 million that go in the United, like the numbers are exaggerated. But one number that is by the way, it took me time until I found the article I was like, oh, somebody finally brought it up. I had to search for it. The thing with Afghanistan, where it says like $83 billion were left in Afghanistan. So I actually went into that and I was like, you know what? I want to talk about it. Is it 7 billion of equipment that were left in Afghanistan or 83 billion? It was like, because Trump continues stating numbers that are supposed to be wrong. But which to me, first I was like, why does he do that? Like, that takes away from his, but the more I read, like, I was like, you know what? I think this is his roundabout way of saying that, like, he knows, even if you tell him like 7 billion, it's not 83 billion. I think he just doesn't believe him. He doesn't believe the system. I think there is a good chance it's more like 20 billion that were left. And that, by the way, human beings are also money, but like nobody counts humans, which I love. It's like, yeah, we left $7 billion of equipment. What about like the worth of a person who knows how to, who got trained? And once you get trained, you know what made the difference? For example, South Sudan. Do you guys know the story of South Sudan? How they got their independence from Sudan? So what happened was that South Sudan asked the Christians in Sudan, this is what it is, asked for the Israelis for help. The Christians asked the Israelis for help because they were being brutally genocided by the Muslims. Israel was like not sure about it, but then at some point they were like, you know what? They need, like, let's do it. They send people to South Sudan. By the way, they had to walk like, I don't know, like 200 kilometers by foot to get to the Christian villages. And here's what they didn't. They only sent like several people, but because they sent them, what they did is to organize all the troops, right? So what they did, first thing, there were a lot of different resistant groups in Sudan, Christian resistance group, and they couldn't like decide who's gonna be the boss among them. The Israelis just arbitrarily chose one group, and they said like, okay, we're gonna train you guys. And because they chose them, everybody aligned, okay, so now, okay, so those are the leaders. And they trained, build this whole resistance like from ground up by showing them how to conduct an army, how to manage, how to do. And that was the difference. This is why the Christians later could make South Sudan happen. Something that would not be, it would have been impossible if it weren't for the Israelis who came and instructed them on how to build an army. It would have not have happened. So when you live, when you build an army somewhere, those people now, right? There's going to be a good amount of people, in theory, those who weren't caught by the Taliban, who now know how to build an army. That is also money, and by the way, like humans, but whatever, like this, but this is, I know, like that is not counted by anyone, like those things are not being counted. So to me, it was interesting. I was like, you know what? I just think when he exaggerates numbers, this might be, if I'm being like generous about it, his way of saying, I don't believe the official numbers. But I also think, like, if that's what you think, you should communicate it better. Yeah. Because it sounds like weird that you repeat the number that you were supposedly corrected on like a million times. So yeah, I was like, I should talk about it too. Making videos is not that easy. Right, so we have Bangladesh going. Of course, United Kingdom is now arresting everybody. The government is arresting all those who don't support it, which is fun. France had an amazing display of wokeness in the Olympics. Like just like in your face, like we have fallen kind of display. Spain, same. I heard is becoming pretty fascistic. All is good, all is good. Life is good. So this is where we're at. I saw this. There is a prediction that actually, like the amount of like assaults on women in Sweden is like skyrocketing. I don't. By the way, Norway that recognized Palestine. I don't know if you guys saw, but they were like they was supposed to be serving Palestine, refused to leave the Tel Aviv. Like they were like, no, I'm not going there. I'm not going to Ramallah. I'm not going to the. It was like, no way. And Israel was like, you're not gonna take your customers here. What the heck? Like that, he thought that he could be like, yeah, I'll sit in Israel and I'll be like meeting up with Israel's enemies in the comfort. So, but then the diplomat was like, no, I'm not going there. So, okay, so you recognize the country. Like, how cynical can you be? Like, how cynically evil can you be? Seriously. Seriously. Like, Steven is saying Sweden has different classification of rape, but yes, 500% increase in rape cases. 20% of Sweden is foreign-born. Like, right, even now, like reflecting back, right, like when we were being taught about the Renaissance, and the industrial age, like, you know, all the, and everything like that. And it's like, okay, so it happened in Europe, but it didn't happen anywhere else in the world. So we were like, so what made Europe special? And there are so many theories about what made Europe special. Like why they could do that where others couldn't. I was like, maybe. And I was like, I don't know why I started remembering that, like that when they were teaching that. I was like, maybe that should have been looked at differently and saying, like, if it weren't for this very unique circumstance, humanity might have stagnated for another million years. Because there was a very unique combination of circumstances that allowed this boom. And it not necessarily like the Chinese were super educated and they had printing and everything like that. Like those things happened. Like the steam engine was invented in Egypt before, by the way, like 3,000 years ago. And yet it never turned into the modern era. Like humanity stagnated, like it didn't grow. That's it. The population didn't grow. Everything was stagnant. But I was like thinking, you know what, but like maybe there was something special. And this maybe it should have presented, you know what? If it weren't for this and that, humanity would have not happened anywhere else. And there are things that need to be protected if you don't want to go back to the way it was. And yes, by the way, if somebody says it was Christianity, it was Christianity, but not only Christianity is a must, but it's not sufficient. It's like you have like Christianity or Judaism, it's the same thing. Like the philosophical, let's say, moral base. Yes, you have to have that, but it's not enough. Even like the weather, you can say, okay, so it was cold, and because it was cold, you needed more technology to just survive. You know, there are many reasons, but there is also like this thing where it's like that maybe the situation we're living at, like this constant reminder, it's a miracle that could have just as well not have happened at all. So, all right, guys, do you want to go to Discord? Join the Discord channel. I'll try to make it work. Let me share. So I'm gonna do, I think, the stage thing. It's gonna be maybe a bit weird. So sorry, it's first time. Okay. Why is it not doing the paste here? Does it work? Oh, there you go. Okay, so I'm sorry, it's gonna be weird. I'm gonna go in the stage thing, right? Start a stage. Let's talk about, I don't know, the state of the world. Also, yeah, I kind of skipped it, like, right. So yeah, I'm also working on the Patreon stuff and like, buy me coffee stuff because yeah, like the monetary thing is kind of hard as well because I am getting a lot less support from, which I understand. It's hard to give and give and give and give. All right, so I don't know. I'm in the stage channel. Sorry for the. It says unusually. Mark as a result. I don't know. Do I need to like, does it mean that I have to like, is it a private channel or can people be added? I don't know how to work. Oh, okay. So it's a lot of people. I got an alert where it's like, so if you guys have an idea how I can like make my income more stable so I can actually continue doing these things for you all, because let's be honest, like I also have to live and it does take a lot of time to make contact like that. So I don't know. All right, so I see there are people in the audience. Let me see if I can make it work. So I'm gonna let how do I let people speak? Can I let people how do I do that? Do you have to ask to speak? I'm so sorry. Okay, this is the point, like I need to. Yo guys, this is where I'm saying like, okay, this is gonna be a messy part. So yeah, so tips for me. Sorry for getting distracted. Also, I don't know how to operate it. So from now on, this gonna get a little bit messier. So all right, so I sent the link. And so I know I'm a speaker there, but how do I invite people to talk? What do you have to do? Why am I so like, do you have to, how does it, foreign audience, share request. Okay, so, okay, somebody requested invite to speak. Hi,
Hi,
Raul.
hi, hi, Rebecca. Now, I just
How you
wanted to
doing?
help you out
Wait,
because,
okay,
again,
no
I saw
requests.
nobody
Hi,
jumping
can
in.
you hear
And
me?
yes, I can.
I
Can you
don't
hear me
hear
well,
you. It's something weird.
Rebecca?
Why don't I hear anything? Is it me or you? Can you write?
You.
Maybe is there like a or somewhere you can write where? Okay. So there is a chat.
Yes.
Okay. So if you can write in the chat whether you think I have issues. Okay, it is me. Can you guys hear him? Okay. No, it looks like. All right. It says it's me. Okay. So that would mean.
Right. So Steven says he can hear me. So
How do I? I'm sorry.
no, it's fine, Rebecca. When you
Hi. User settings. Maybe. Devices. Hmm? Why can't I hear you?
now, how about now? Test, test, test. 1, 1, 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Other people are saying that they can hear both.
All right.
Apparently, it has to be something on
One
your
sec.
side.
I'm gonna figure it out. I hope. Okay, you can. Other people can hear them. You can hear it. Okay, you guys can hear them. Okay, am I the only one who doesn't hear? Okay, so I don't hear you. So it's me. All right, everybody, you guys also hear him. Okay, you can hear him. I cannot hear him. All right. So I think it. No.
Test, test, test.
Why?
Trying again, trying again.
Where's the? Where's the? Where's the? Oh, here. Oh, thank goodness.
Test, test, test. Trying again. 1, 2, 3.
Hey,
Oh, here you go. Rebecca, can you hear me now?
wait, where you speak? Can you say something?
Something, something. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3.
I'm trying to figure out if you're. No, the output is wrong. Okay, wait 1 sec. It's not you, it's me. Which we all know now.
This is fun.
No, I just thought I hear you through the speakers instead of. Wait.
So you do hear, generally speaking, do you hear the voice
Oh my
coming through?
god. You know what? My headphones were off all this time, and I didn't notice.
Can you hear now? Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3.
I can hear you now. Oh my god, you
All right,
guys.
perfect.
Welcome. First
Well, thank
time.
you again. I didn't really
I
have anything to say in particular,
Oh, you guys,
but I
that's
wanted to help
exciting.
you
I
out get this
wanted I
sorted
wanted
because
to hear
nobody
you
was
saying
jumping
things.
in and well raising their hand, so to speak. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
nothing I can say. I'm in agreement with a lot of things since I'm
Where are
from
you
Israel
from?
myself.
Oh, you're Israel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Israel. Back in the day, served in the IDF a long time ago. So I mean, I definitely agree with the all general standpoints that we have to solve this. Otherwise, this is unsolvable. And I mean, in general, I think I'm in agreement with most of the things that you will say.
Amazing. Thank you for jumping in. If you wanna, you can go. You wanna go? There's somebody else who actually
Sure, sure,
requested
let
to
somebody
speak.
else speak. I simply doesn't don't have anything so to speak, so nothing special to say. So sure,
All
of
right.
course.
You might stay here until I figure out how to remove you, but I guess you can leave. But
No, I just drop off.
no, stay
I think
because I should know how to remove other people. So I'm gonna use you as
okay.
a
So you need the help with that. Okay,
learning.
I'm
All
waiting.
right.
Okay,
Okay.
no
So
problem. Take your time.
I invited I invited another person, and in the meantime, why does it is it like muted?
I
Hi.
think now it invited all three of us to speak, so I'm still able to
Right.
speak.
I know. But there is like I think he's muted. I think you're muted. I think Steven, if I'm like how do I Hey, I think you're muted, Steven. You guys are you think it's funny?
It's
Okay, it's
amusing.
you guys I say do you think it's funny? I feel like an old lady now, like a grandma. I'm like, how do I do that? Where do I how do I
Hello,
make
hello.
you Hi, how you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. So, are we talking about
Yes.
what's the topic? What's the topic that we're talking about? Money? Or we're talking about state of the world?
Money. We can do both. We can do anything. To be honest, like at this point, it's like I just want to hear from you as well. I'm just
Okay.
curious.
All right. So I'm gonna speak. I'm gonna speak in Rebecca E's. It's gonna be kind of brutal. It's not my normal way of speaking, but I'm gonna try to speak to you
You can
personally.
speak the way you do.
The way.
I understand English as well.
Okay. So no one cares about you in particular,
Right. Good.
but people care about things through you. If you become their sort of I don't know how do I say it, their avatar that they consider like a beacon for truth or beacon for their point of view. So I'll say I don't care. I don't particularly care about. I'll be really blunt. I don't particularly care about Israel per se, as from an American point of view. I don't
Yeah.
care.
That
But I
I
do
think
care
that's healthy.
about. Yeah, I'm trying to be as brutally honest as
Why is
possible.
it brutally honest? Like if when you say that, like this is the culture difference. Like I think when you say that, it's like okay, you're a normal person. Of course you wouldn't care. It's like a
No, no, your normal is not American normal.
I
Your
know.
normal is not.
I'm just pointing out the cultural difference.
Yeah, it's a culture difference.
Like, why
But
would you
as
care
much
about Israel? It's
well,
like it's not
I have to.
normal. It's kind of not normal
No,
to care. I
it's
like care,
from
just
from a
like on the
from an American perspective, it's very impolite, rude, and racist to say that. To be frank, from an American point of view, it's racist to say you don't care about Israel. Also, it's racist to say you don't care about Chinese people. It's a racist thing to say because we
it's
are hyper.
racist.
No, yeah, we're hypersensitive when it comes to our perceived compassion about other countries because we literally have guns to everyone's heads, so we're hypersensitive about how we're perceived.
Right. It makes sense. Yeah. Like yeah, you do have guns of on to
Yeah.
like that's real.
So
That's real.
if you're gonna be in a space where literally the government you voted in
Mm-hmm.
has a sitting army in somebody's country, you're gonna
Right.
say you're not gonna we're not racist. We're not occupiers. We're assisting or we're helping. It's not gonna be that. So let's get back to the topic.
Mm,
The topic. Let's stay on topic. Not me continually apologize for what I'm trying to say.
right.
So I don't care about it. I don't care about Israel per se. I care
Mm-hmm.
about people and the and people's right to life. That's what I care about as an individual. I care about people's right to life.
Why?
And I don't. I think personally, I think Israel spends too much time
Mm.
debating why they have a right to live.
Oh, I
Personally,
agree. I agree. This is why I say like I don't like it. I always go from a place. Okay, let's say Israel disappears. Like I always choose this point of view. But then I guess I'm brutal. It's like because
no,
like
no.
seriously like okay, so Israel is gone. The thing is that yeah, it's gonna screw over way more than just us.
It's one of those things where it doesn't matter. Like, what if the Native Americans actually had a what if the Native Americans they actually had a disease that spread to the colonizers
Oh, there
and all
was
the most, no, let's reverse it. Like,
like
no,
do you
no,
know
no,
tuberculosis?
no. I'm saying the reverse. What
Right.
if the Native Americans had among their group a disease that spread to the colonies, the
Yeah,
13 colonies, and wiped them out instead? And
and
but
they
they
did.
still were able to adapt the country to their own needs. But the now imagine like the First Nation peoples as the complete dominant rulers of America, and you have a minority white population and a
Right.
minority European population. It would just
Okay.
be it would basically be kind of like Israel Gaza type of thing
Why?
because because you have a nation of people who are on their ancestral lands and they
Mm.
have a right to be there, and you have small pockets in the country who feel like they have a sort of manifest destiny to like for a better word to the land.
I don't
But
understand, to be honest.
all right, this is analogies. That's okay. But okay, let's just talk about
Okay, if
one
the
topic.
colony, but they got a lot, yeah, the tuberculosis wasn't enough. But like, there were way more white people than were Native Americans. Native Americans were from the get-go, like, didn't have like the numbers advantage.
No, they
The,
did, but they didn't have
and
they
locally,
didn't they
not
didn't.
globally. That's what I'm saying. Locally, like as far as we can tell, maybe the first colonizers, all they like a lot of them did die. But you just
Okay,
had
so
one person to go back and like to announce for the others that hey, we found something to for them to know, and it could have like and all the colonies could have been wiped out, but it doesn't mean that like they're not gonna come back.
well, the Native Americans are basically about 600 tribes, right? 600 individual tribes. It's like they're not a nation in a sense. They're more like a tribal people who are loosely connected, and they're loosely connected people who live across all of America. They weren't one people like some people think. Like they're not one people. They're
Yeah,
a
yeah,
collection of tribes that
yeah.
roam nomadic. They fought each other. Sometimes they enslaved each other,
Mhm.
but for the most part, they weren't. They had their own names before settlers came in, and they sort of divided and conquered them. Blah 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 blah. So I guess we'll get back on the main topic though. How to create a community, raise money, and to what end, basically.
All right. I don't understand. Again, what like is that a question?
No, I'm just trying to stay on topic. I don't want to
All right,
be
all right,
on
all
topic
right.
of tangents. Trying to get something let's treat it like an objective, and let's try
Mm.
to keep the audience involved, obviously, because we don't want to ignore supporters. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I see Coping says lots of nations somewhat like Africa, but not really. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's so so. This is the thing. How it's like sponsored topics, right? The state of the world is way too broad. You can poll your audience. Like there's tools on Discord and other
It's funny
platforms.
because my America topics make like they have the least the least amount of traction.
Oh, because you're very to an American, you're extremely how could I say it's you're the way you talk
Hmm.
is vicious. It starts the
Oh.
word starts with B and ends with H, but Americans would consider the way you talk bitchy.
Hmm.
What you say is 100% correct.
Right.
I've I've literally I've looked up what you said in videos because I know next to nothing about that
Mm-hmm.
part of the world, and I've learned a lot about that part of the world in the recent months. But I'm like, okay, is this true? First, you look at her like, why is she saying things like that? And the way you react to, I don't, because from American point of view, we do not, we can mince words, but we don't mince words when people die. When people die, we kill slews of people when Americans die. We don't play about that. And the
What?
fact that okay, I'll put it like this: when 9/11 happened,
Right.
instantly, and when 9/11 happened, I was in high school when 9/11 happened, and when it happened, every person who had an accent who was from that part of the world
Mm.
was instantly put in the same bracket. Like we didn't all say it because we didn't understand it, but we instantly put anybody who's from that part of the world, even if they lived in America for 15 years, we put them in the same bracket because we didn't know who to trust, kind of
Right.
thing. It was like we suspect they're terrorists from the Middle East, which is a broad brush, broad as hell. And we
Right.
don't we don't Americans aren't sensitive enough to know a Yazidi from a Turk or Yazidi from somebody from the South Iraq. No, we Americans don't know. We don't have no clue the subtle differences in tribes. Just like you would know the difference between a Chickasaw and a Cherokee or an Apache. Like Americans don't know these different tribal relationships. So we just put everybody in one group. Just like people from other parts of the world will put all Native Americans in the same group. That's what we did to the Middle East. And for years, we was like, okay, we did not. I mean, and generally, we just trusted what the news said, and we felt like they know what they're talking about. And the biggest takeaway from 9/11, I think, and looking into all the propaganda that's come out, the truth that's come out, is the government is far more incompetent than we would have liked to believe, and that is in my opinion, and
Mm.
basic that is the basic takeaway from 9/11 is our government is a lot more incompetent than we want to believe, and some people
Maybe
can't accept it.
or maybe the bad guys are more competent than you want to believe.
Well, okay, so okay, let's play both sides. Let's play devil's advocate. All right, like okay, so it's like it's like it's like what is being taught as what is America kind of things. Like we're everybody every you would say you grew up in Chicago or you grew up around Chicago, summers in
No, yeah,
Chicago.
I had summer camps in Chicago.
And okay, summer camps. So, did you go to public school in America?
No.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
okay. So,
Like I can
so
say that even just going to like a camp, like it was a very, I was like as a child, I was shocked by how different Americans are.
yeah.
There were a
How
lot
are
of
they?
things that I thought like, wow, that never happened to me. Like, and that the amount of times that they say like,
All right. So, all right. Nine. Okay. So someone says 9/11 is an inside job,
Right.
and my response to that, after all the videos I've watched and all the time people spent on it,
Mm.
it doesn't matter whether it was an inside job or not.
Mm.
It doesn't matter whether it's an inside job or not. It's how are you going to act differently because 9/11 happened, Or- and you carry forward that belief. It's like, how are you going to behave differently? Are you going to behave as if the government is acting in your best interest? Are you going to behave in a very cautious way toward the government, or should should the government have the power to go to war in cases in which the information is not verified and can't be verified, and you have people willing to lie to sell a $1 billion, $1 trillion military contract? It's
Right.
like
One
it's
sec,
like
Stephen. Before I answer
uh,
that, I want to add another, like invite someone to speak, because I do have some comments, but I just want to let you know, like don't be surprised if there's somebody like popping up, because I think it would be fun if there's more people just talking here. Okay, so please continue with your thoughts.
sure. Also, I was listening to your rant on debates, Rebecca,
Mm-hmm.
and and my comments were, most people they don't have these matches of ideas. They have more of uh they a fight with words that there's no resolution to. So if we're talking about a topic, I like to give everybody their time to speak.
I'm confused.
Hello. Oh, okay. Hello, coping. Hello, coping. How are you doing?
Everybody, do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear it. Wait, before copying, I'm like, can you please repeat, like Stephen, like at the like what like what's your sentiment if you can
Oh,
summarize?
my sentiment is, if you have multiple people speaking, there should be a host, or at least a moderator, who at least gives each person time to speak, especially if
I
they're on
mean,
opposite sides
oh,
of an opinion.
wait, when I invite somebody,
If you invite like multiple people to speak, just since you're the host, you have, I don't say have to, but it helps to have a moderator who can
can you give an
sort of.
example like when it bothered you or something? Because I'm
Uh,
I'm kind of
may,
confused
may
about
I
like what
please chime
exactly.
in on that one?
Yeah, like
May I
what is
chime in
that?
on what Stephen was saying there? So there's a reason I am on camera here is because that makes it easier for us to, let's say, just hold a finger up to signal, hey, I would like to speak, but I don't want to stay unmuted. Just as an example, I'm taking this from an experience of previous live chats. By the way, hi Rebecca. It's so nice that you are now finally having your audience on to be speaking and
Welcome,
whatnot.
welcome. Wait, copying. Come on. If you say it short, otherwise I want to hear Stephen all the way before. Yeah, I
Yeah,
let
no,
you.
it was just like I like the topic that he was entering in on and having, talking about moderation. But yeah, please continue.
All right. Yeah, Stephen, please. So if you have
Sure.
something specific in mind, that would really help me understand what you're
Sure.
you're referring to.
Sure. So in this case, Rebecca, you are a speaker. In this case, you are talking on you have knowledge on topics such as Israel, um, the Middle East, the goings on, and Gaza, and whatever topic you bring forth, you want to talk to your audience about, or you want to invite people who don't agree to speak. So in those cases, it'd be very helpful to have a moderator who come in, and they understand both sides, they understand the topic, and they keep both sides on topic. It's
All right,
helpful.
but
It's
I
very
don't
helpful.
usually debate people on my channel, to be honest.
Okay, that's fair. I
Like,
was just
I never debate people. Like, I know what you're saying, like moderator, but like I don't remember bringing someone who I wasn't like that I was opposing to, or vice versa. I usually bring people because I want to hear them out.
Understood.
So that's why I'm confused. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, if there is a debate, like I talked, like it makes sense to have a moderator, whatever that is. But like, what's both sides? Like, I'm super, like, if I talk to somebody, I want to hear them out. So yeah, coping, please.
Thank you. I think the context that Stephen is referring to is when you're in a forum. Like, so he was referring to, like, if you're multiple people, so then the forum will need a host, someone to moderate. So you are hosting, but I think what he's saying, as far as I understood it, is that you would do well with having a moderator. I would like to give a response to that. I think it is actually sufficient that if Rebecca is hosting, then she sets the standard, and then it is up for the guests to come on to uphold those standards. In other words, self-moderation. I can tell you from what I've seen several, like twice now I've seen, Rebecca, that once you start having the audience on, and you will start having some level-headed regulars coming on, and those who are coming on using the time, taking use of the time that you are providing for the audience. You are introducing people from your audience to provide a broader set of perspectives, which, caters us to a broader audience. Well, then it will be up for us who are the guests, to uphold the standard. And there are ways to go about it. Like, I would recommend you, if you are to do forums on YouTube, and just generally speaking here too also, but at
Like,
least on YouTube.
Are you guys both talking about like going forward? Because it's the first time I'm having a conversation like that. Because like, or Stephen, were you talking about something that was happening in the past?
I'm just talking about having common rules for speakers so that each person is heard and respected in that time. Just like
You
Coping said. Coping
like
said, "I want to
here.
be
That's how I
seen."
understood it too.
All right.
Yes,
So
Coping was
this is
saying,
what I
Well,
didn't understand. Like that you're talking about like here now.
yeah, I'm talking about common rules for speaking. So that way we don't talk over each other. Like Coping was saying, he's going to show his face and he's going to use a
Oh, I see.
gesture to show that he wants to talk. He wants to raise his
I
hand.
get it. Okay. I
But
see.
let's say I don't agree with that. I think we should just use the mute button to mute each other, to mute ourselves. Like us. So we have this disagreement. So you
Yeah.
set the rules
well,
for speaking. You
I don't
set the
necessarily
rules.
disagree with you. I think it is appropriate here.
Yeah. So the mod,
Yeah,
the
I'm
host.
not disagreeing with you here, but on YouTube, you should know Rebecca runs a real risk of having people torpedoing her stream with, they will say words that will get her channel flagged. They will put things on the screen that, you
Yeah.
kind of need to have an on-camera rule to just filter out the trolls. It's guaranteed you're otherwise going to be getting just a whole lot of unnecessary, especially your channel. I can assure you, this is a common problem for many channels, but like, I mean, you're Israeli, so yeah, it is actually a thing. You're going to be having an above average amount of trolls that are just going to be coming at you and want to sabotage just to sabotage. So yeah, like, I think it is a good idea for you to, right now, when you're just talking with the peeps, fine. But I do think you should kind of use this as a good practice ground for setting up a live forum on the YouTube, and you have the criteria. Look, you can come here and present a broader perspective, your perspective, here on my channel, and discuss with your fellow audience members along with me. And if you want, you can actually step. Just to put on the thing you mentioned
Well,
about debate. I
listen.
completely agree with you.
All right, guys, listen,
Mm.
I understand what you're saying. I just don't think this is like this conversation that is technical about how to manage the speakers when I invite you, when this is the first time. But of course, it's the first time I'm doing so. It's a bit premature. Yes, I understand like what you're saying, but I really think it's boring. No offense, but like those are good, like good things. But if it were just us as friends talking, but it's like, okay, wait, yeah, we
No,
can
you
have that
set the topic.
conversation. No, I say we can have this
Well,
same conversation.
Okay,
No, but the
let's
two
move on.
topics that we were like that I wanted to is money and the state of the world, and not moderate, like not how to do this. Because when Stephen was talking before, I didn't understand the context. I thought it was something that like more
Got
relevant.
it.
I'm sorry.
No,
So that's the
I'll just talk over you or him. It's okay. It's okay. We're just friends, so it's not a big
yeah.
deal right now.
Yeah, they listen.
All right.
It's just like I'm just gonna add anyone who pops in today. It's just test run, see what happens. And don't
Got it.
worry, like visually speaking, of course, I thought about like people can come up naked, right? But this is why people on YouTube can only see, can only hear, not see.
Can,
When
can
it
I
comes
can I
to,
then try to stay on topic when it comes to money?
mm-hmm.
So there's this common so-called myth when it comes to aid given to Israel. But this is, in geopolitics, there's no such thing as, aid, really. Like, it's just a different way of saying bribe. But in the case of Israel, this one is a lot more comprehensive, or maybe not so much. You have typically touched upon many of them, joint research and or also for Israel's ability to test certain weapon systems simply because its geographical size is not pertaining. But people tend to get really hooked up on that the 3 or the 4 billion, which is a drop in the bucket. If you look at Israel's annual defense budget, military spending, and then you compare it up to the GDP, if you were to remove those 3 to 4 billion, it would be like, oh, now we just have to readjust to how we had it the previous year because the economy has been growing.
Right.
The real things here when it comes to money is how it pertains to the U.S. arms industry being because Israel is contractually obliged through this so-called aid, not only to be buying earmarked armaments from the United States, so this is money laundering of U.S. taxpayers, but also Israel is contractually obliged to not export a wide array of weapon systems that would compete with the U.S. arms industry.
Mm-hmm.
So they're basically double tapping on that one. And whenever a crisis happens in Israel, just look at every stock exchange, you can see this throughout history. Every single time, all stocks related to Israel, right down. What does that mean? Well, it's like in any disaster capitalism. You buy up the stocks now penny for a dollar because you know that Israel is going to be getting the backlog of orders. They're going to be getting more and more countries that are going to be nonetheless ordering the weapons they can order because now they see them tested. Also the ones that are in the U.S. arms industry because it's U.S. armaments being tested. So the U.S. arms industry always get a big boost of that. That they came with this last time here that I'm pretty sure they were just happy to just throw 14 billion because most of it would just be cycled back to the United States, which is, how you really make a hegemon. It's
You
you're not
guys,
just a
when
bank
I
and
said
money.
money, I meant how I can make money doing being
That's
a
what that's what I
YouTuber.
thought.
Hello.
That's what I thought.
Sorry.
I was
That's
being
the
like,
thing. Like,
Sorry.
you go ahead. Not that. No, I get what you're
It's-
saying. Like, it's also relevant in the state of the world. I know a lot of like this aid to Israel kind of thing like comes up a lot everywhere. It's like, oh, we're helping, like, but it's just it's like, no, there is no aid. Like, it's not aid. It is a form of bribe. It is like money laundering. Yeah, it is suspicious in that way, but it's also it's like without it, then Israel would be like, then
wait, if you're talking,
it is a way to tie down Israel. Yes, it is.
all of Israel deals with the United States for weaponry and arms have been done way, way in the past, and there are a long abiding contract. And if you want to go into that, good luck with that. But know that Israel is actually playing a very fair game by essentially just
Israel does. That doesn't mean
buying.
America does in its inner politics. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's what it's talking about. It's not
Correct.
about
Yeah,
the
yeah,
deals
it's a very.
between Israel. It is how it's conducted inside of the United States. That is the questionable part.
I agree.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Beyond that, I just
gonna-
wanted to say congrats
Wait.
for opening Discord, Rebecca.
Ah,
I think it's a
thank
very
you.
important move for your community and to grow it. and to stay in touch with people.
Well, I think you're
Um,
Israeli, right? Guys, Stephen wanted to say something, and after that, let's say, what's our name, what's our names or nicknames, and where we are from. Just, first time, let's get to know each other.
Sure. I'll be brief. Um, I-
Yeah, go ahead.
so as far as building community for supporting your passion and your cause, which is your country, it's difficult. And building community is one thing. Having a billion people, like a million people, have Discords, but how many people fund themselves through Discord? I don't know. I've never done that before. But there are ways and means through Discord to um, keep your audience interested, creating topics, creating threads, and keeping them coming back for more. I don't know any particular plans for that right now, but I can do a little bit of research and see how what people have done, and I can bring that back in the future. That's what I'll say.
All right.
But
Yeah.
introductions, it's a
Mm-hmm.
big surprise, but my name is Stephen Barkley. Um, I am from America. Currently reside in Florida. I am I'm American. That's my introduction.
Oh, you live in Florida. So Florida is
Yes.
like a safe haven now. Everybody's running to Florida. I've heard.
It we have a well, it's mostly because of our governor and mostly because our beautiful beaches and most there are different reasons to move to Florida, but mostly it's because of our laws. Our laws are forward thinking, cautious governor. That's why a lot of people are moving to Florida. And our tax status.
Can
Low
I ask you a
tax.
question, Stephen?
So,
Yeah,
but
no,
let's get some
Florida is being managed
introduction.
awesomely.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. I mean, what question? That's not what the question. That wasn't a question, though.
No, it wasn't. I just said it and I thought there was a delay. So you said something and I felt like, okay.
Yeah.
I
Well, you said you had a question about Florida, or
no, just a question for you.
go ahead.
By the way, there is an echo. Do you guys know where that is from? Um,
this
so
echo is
That's
actually
your
coming from you.
that's your microphone.
mine? That doesn't make sense. Hmm. Let me see.
Well,
I've
all
been
of us
I've
are
been
muted, so it only happens when you are talking.
yeah. It's
It's
only happens with
nothing sound in the
your background.
background. Isn't it?
Yeah, I heard
Funny
that.
enough, I've
Yeah.
mentioned this on your Twitter, your X before, but yeah, you have a problem with your microphone. I don't know what it is, but there's a feedback on your microphone from time to time.
Is
It's
it?
probably like your distance. It's the
y-
distance you are away from your microphone that
Oh,
varies, but there's a problem with your microphone when you're at a certain distance away from it.
hmm. I didn't know that. Why? I
It's
cannot.
That's
probably
okay.
the
That's so
gain.
weird. Okay. Yeah. So just
It's
okay. Yes.
it's a known problem. I'm fine with
And
it.
all right, Stephen, I wanted to ask you. So you're a Floridan man, right? You don't care about
Yeah.
Israel, which is completely fine. How did you get to my
Yeah.
channel, and what compels you to watch it?
Um. That's a great question. Well, w- it started with me wanting to know more about why we as Americans are sending money to Israel, and
Mm.
why there's a large portion of the population who are advocating for are is like let me be clear. Israel is just a country was just a country to me this year. It's just a country. It's no two state anything. Israel's just a place on the map,
Can I say
and
something?
yeah. Go ahead.
If all the world felt that way, life would have been so much better.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah,
But
go ahead.
here's
I'm sorry.
but what happened. I think what happened, what brought me into your content was you were speaking about issues that were affecting um, basically your family and where you're from, and you're offering logical arguments, not in a different way. Let me put it. Let me be really blunt. You don't speak like a normal person would on a topic that they care about, because the way you describe the facts and the way you describe violence and the way you describe the opponents are very matter of fact and kind of what I use the word callous, because it lacks what normally no like normal Americans feel is compassion and empathy. But as I learned more about October 7th, I learned more about the state of Israel and how long Israel has been basically in a perpetual war.
Mm-hmm.
And I sort of localized it to me. It felt like, okay, so, and I saw videos of the baby terrorists and their training. I was like, they don't, and I've seen the bias reporting that exists from Al Jazeera and other news networks, and I saw the hate watchers on your channel.
Mm-hmm.
I was more or less like, okay, what's going on here? Is she in the wrong? Because I don't like how you say things. It's not entertain. It's not that. It's not like it doesn't gain sympathy easily the way you say things, but what you say is almost always 100% right. I was like, okay, so if she, I don't care that the way she says things. I don't listen because the way you say things. It's funny, but then it really brought me in when you made the free win video about the
Mm-hmm.
anime, and it was like, okay, you're a very matter of fact person, and your point of view comes from a long history of culture and law, and you're the subject matter expert. I'm not the subject matter expert. This is not my perspective
Mm-hmm.
that I can apply to you. And like for instance, in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
recently we got rid of the um squatters law in Florida. We got rid of
Right.
that. We saw what's happening in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we looked at maybe we look was looking, other places too, but we was like, we can't have people squatting in somebody's house and writing this counterfeit um basic document, sending it into the courthouse and claiming their property. We're not going to do that here in Florida. We're going to protect our citizens' property. That's what we're going to do, and that's what our governor did, and Florida became super popular. I wonder why. But from a Floridian's perspective, it's like, okay, so there's a parallel here when it comes to people who are in Israel and who have
Mm-hmm.
a biological or historic claim to land. It's not the same argument, but it's a similar argument. And you have to look at the history of the thing. As because Ben Shapiro, also a person I've listened to in the past, I don't like the way he speaks to people,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't say anything that is factually wrong. So I listen to him anyway. And
So,
I listen to people. Go
so is it
ahead.
like intellectual curiosity that you have? Is that what drives you?
I would say that's part of it, but it's also part of cultural similarities. Um, I was brought up in a pseudo Christian belief system,
Mm-hmm.
and Christianity is based upon Judaism. So I would say I was brought up in a pseudo Judaism, but not anything nearing that of Torah study or anything like that. But we believe in the sanctity of life. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
we believe in mercy. We believe in basically neighborliness, and there's an entire ideology that believes in basically war and conquest, submission, honor, and conquer. And that's a it's not a bandit group that believes in it. It's a political belief. It's a religious belief. And in America, last I heard, we have a pseudo Judean Christian origin, or have an origin that's based upon our a shared faith in a God, and a God of mercy, and a God that respected all humanity as children of humanity. We have a basis of that. We obviously we're hypocrites many times, but we have a basis of that, and we feel like if a people believe another group of people doesn't have the right to live, then it it spits in the face of our beliefs and our humanity. Because
So,
if one group of people doesn't have the right to live, then
all right,
that
can I
spits
ask you
in the
something?
face. Sure, shoot.
So this is what I'm hearing. Okay, so before Israel was just another country, and then you started listening, and it sounds like you listened to a lot of people who talk about those issues, and it's kind of shocked the way you. But it's interesting to me that the way you describe it. But the bottom line, like what you're talking about now, is like you're listening to us not because it's necessarily pleasant, but does it? Like what I sense from you is like you personally feel like there is some risk that you're sensing.
Risk? What do you mean risk?
Risk, like danger, not risk, danger. Like you're personally, like you're saying, like I believe in this, I believe in that. So you do you feel like those
No,
principles?
it's like you. No, it's in a way yes, but it's a way if America, let's
Mm,
say America, because America has a relationship with Europe. America has
right.
a relationship, you know, with other places in the world. However, if we have to believe, if we believe in dinosaurs, if we believe in archaeological evidence, if we believe in ancient writings, we have to believe that Christianity came from somewhere. Christianity came from that part of the world, and most of America claims to be Christian. And if we're callous about a group of people who believe in life, who believe in law, and are attacked, or are who are attacked, can't don't have the right to defend themselves, then we can't believe in anything. We can't believe in anything. It puts us in this position where we have to accept that we're hypocrites, or we have to drop the mask that we are this Christian nation who cares about life and these basic Judean Christian concepts. So partially it's not intellectual. The intellectual part is part of it. It's like I enjoy learning about something new, but the more I learn about the intricacies, not intricacies, I won't say intricate. I don't know intricate anything about Israel. The more I learn about um, the general laws of Israel and of the people, which are different from ours, it's more similar than it is dissimilar. But
Mm-hmm.
also, I feel people in Israel are so much more used to be. They're so much more used to being on a war footing, and have this sort of 9/11 esque feeling about their neighbors. And I'm just saying, from an American point of view, I can understand that. But we got attacked once and went to war for 20 years, and nobody batted an eye until the receipts came in. And you guys are a new nation in relative terms. Like how old? I mean, in relative UN terms, it's what I mean.
Mm.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
From a UN point of view, you're a new nation, right? We can agree on that.
sure.
Well, we are as
Like
new as the UN. Can we
like
agree on that?
Yeah, yeah. You're it's and so asserting yourself in the 20th and the 21st century is it's what it looks like. But the way America asserted itself in the 18th century, when no one had smartphones and cell phones and video recordings and journalists in their country, I don't know how America would have developed into what it is today. But again, from a American from a Judeo-Christian point of view, I feel that Israel's doing what I think, in my perspective, for the most part, what's best for Israel, despite what the world thinks about Israel, or the UN thinks, or NATO thinks. Because if any other country was in a similar position, they would act in a similar way. Because it's not just they're persecuting people who live in Gaza for Gaza's sake, for persecution's sake. We have video evidence on a daily basis that there's a concerted effort to destroy a group of people. So you have to get that across in the way you choose that allows people to support you.
How do you
And
feel
I
when I
think
say that America was founded upon biblical, according to the way that the Israeli Judaic nation built itself in biblical times?
how do
How,
I feel when you say America was founded the way Israel was?
yeah, the OG, the biblical. Because I did, like,
No,
this is
I don't
something,
agree.
like,
I
because
disagree.
both Britain, the way the nationalism in Britain was created and the way they structured, it was recorded to just follow the biblical story of how they managed. And it was the same with the United States, and those who did that claim that. And it's not something
Oh,
like I'm making up.
it's a
But
subtle difference, but it's a subtle difference, but it's a difference. So,
what's the difference?
in my perspective, from what I learned, you can correct me, you can interrupt at any time, but the Jewish people
Hmm.
aren't a group of people who were persecuted by a larger nation. That's not who they are. They're a
What do you
family.
mean?
They're they're not a group of people who were persecuted.
What do you think
Like
the
let's say
Exodus was?
they were an ethnic group of people who were persecuted by
But
because of what their beliefs.
did
They're
you
not
did
they're
you
not a they're not they're not a mass of people who are persecuted because they were in a minority. So America started because they were there were small masses of people from different religious groups and family groups who
right?
all decided to leave their countries of origin temporarily or forever to go to a new colony, either in exchange for payment or they're given a loan to travel.
All
And
right.
sometimes some travel through peacetime, and some travel because of persecution. They were getting kicked
Okay.
out of their land. So
I'm sorry.
th-
Like, what was the story of Abraham, and what was the story of the Exodus, of the creation of the nation of Israel?
right, so
What you're saying
I'm
is the exact
like
one about like one like exact same description, like exact same like everything you just said is exactly describing the formation of the nation of Israel in the Sinai, when
there
they
are a
were
large there
they
there
were
are a lot of
a persecuted minority, but they weren't just one. They were erev rav. They were many different population who had created a nation by receiving laws that are
you know
known
what
now as the Ten
you
Commandments.
know what
That's
I mean, I have
exactly
to
the
do more.
same
Yeah,
story.
let me let
That
me
is
pull back. I pull back on that because you're right. There were in the founding of America, there were many different. There were family groups, but there were also same ethnicities, and yeah, I will pull back on that.
The only
I'll
thing
go
is
back.
that America did not yet. What's unique about this Bible that it summarizes 1,000 years, 1,000 years. The Americans just maybe you feel that there are many different groups inside of America and it's not one family because you guys didn't mix with each other. But given enough time, you would have. And
But
there are
it's
other
the same.
things that were existing that didn't necessarily exist when Israel was formed.
Right. So I would say America is a ideological homeland that dreams for a better life for everybody, when Israel is a literal and biblical and a historical and sort of a holy land that sort of exists for a shared future. So
Yeah,
it's
but that's the
in
same
a way
thing
it's different.
in different words, and it's the same story. You have a lot
It
of
is.
the minorities
It is.
mixing together, accepting the same laws. The reason it's accepted now as an ethnicity and everything like that, it's not because there is wasn't a large genetic variance. There was, it's like it's also adopted family, but it's with enough time you start getting and enough it's called a bottlenecks event, you're gonna start having more similar DNA. But that just because that's that not that's just circumstances.
I understand. Like from my knowledge, Israel has absorbed or is attempting to absorb Jews from Ethiopia, South Africa, and possibly other parts of
Anyone who
the Middle
converts
East.
to Judaism has a right to come to Israel.
Well, those examples though are of people who don't necessarily claim to. Well, they are in a way that yeah they did
No,
convert.
but that doesn't you see the way you're thinking about, which I'm trying to fight. This is why I made a video about genetics, right?
Go ahead.
Like those things, like thinking about race and thinking about genetics, those are things that are not, they're not ingrained, and um they're not native to the Jewish Israeli thinking. It's imposed from the outside. Jews don't think in a genetic matter. Not really. Not the same way. Yes, there is like a component of it, there is like an element of it, but that's imposing a worldview that isn't native to the culture that we have as Jews. The test is whether there is a correlation between being born in a certain culture and understanding it. But what counts is whether or not you understand the culture and the laws and the history of the Jewish people. This is why you have to study for so long before converting to Judaism. So the thing is, like, the conversion to Judaism, being accepted as Jews, it's all based on accepting the laws, the traditions, and it's the same process as it is getting a citizenship. This is why it's long. It takes you several years to get a citizenship when you become a resident of a country. It's the same process, historically speaking, right? It just stayed that way to become Jewish. Then there there is no, how do I say, like, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought because I get messages
If someone
all
if
over.
someone is trying to become a citizen of a country, they need to learn about that country, accept that country's
Exactly.
worldview,
Right.
and
So when you have
fold
immigrants
fold their. Go ahead.
and you have immigrants in America that don't really accept Americanism, then they feel foreign, right? They don't feel like they're part of it. So Judaism has a very similar perspective. If somebody is born in America, it's taken for granted that he is an American citizen. And it's the same when it
Yes,
comes to Judaism.
yes. If someone has a Jewish mother, they
Yeah.
don't need to study to become part of the nation. They are the nation.
Exactly.
It's like
Not
just like
exactly. You would definitely study
no
the
no no no
traditions
no no no
from
no
the
no
people
no no
in.
no
Can I just
no
finish,
no.
please,
Go
before
ahead.
you say 100 time no's? When you're
Go
born
ahead.
into a certain culture, you learn it by default because this is where you're born. You learn the tradition, you learn the ways. This is why you are Jewish, considering the tradition, essentially, because you were born into the culture.
Yeah. And the thing that's like you have the mother because also a belief that your mother influences your culture and traditions more than necessarily the father.
I would
Why is
say
nobody's
from a
okay?
I would say
Mhm.
from my American point of view, I can see I can see how I wouldn't think that way necessarily.
Yeah,
Like
it's
in
just a
in
different culture.
America, we don't absorb the cultures of our mothers. We absorb the culture of our peers. Does that make sense?
That's called negligence.
I'm just stating my lived experience. I'm not stating why that is. I'm just stating my lived experience in
Mm-hmm.
general.
I think that's your perception, that's your point of view, and the way you taught yourself how you see the world and where you get your morals and values from. I don't think it's the same for every American person. I think in general you take your morals and your point of view from the Constitution in general, from your uh, country, the way your country formed itself, essentially, around what values and morals.
I think you're falling into a, the wrong point of view. You're thinking because you I think okay, as I'm learning more and more about Israel and Judaism, I understand more about why uh, Americans and people from Israel don't understand each other because I've learned that Israel is a country of laws. Judaism is about the law.
Mm-hmm.
America is not a is in general, in my perspective, as a Floridian. I can't speak for the whole country. I can speak generally for people I grew up around and myself. We're a country of rights and we're a country of opportunity. Does that make sense? From my perspective,
How is it different?
we don't study law.
So you don't have laws
Like
in America?
we have laws in America. Our number
Right.
one law.
But your
uh,
amendments are
no,
you're that the amendments that you say are rights. They're actually laws.
yes, these are articles of the
So
Constitution,
you have
the
law
amendments.
that says you have the freedom of speech.
Right.
So
These
rights
are
and laws are intertwined. So you cannot
they
say
are
that they're not. They're not.
absolutely absolutely are. But
So when you say
so
Israel is a national law, law in also comes with rights. It's the same thing.
how can how this is just, this is like I don't know if any other Americans are in the chat or not, but
By the way,
my
adaptive
perspective
agile. Thank you for the super chat. You guys,
my
those
pers-
super chats are very welcome.
my
Thank you.
my
Yes,
perspective
continue.
is that we we don't hold the law as highly as a person whose entire whose history and country depends on law. It's we don't study the law like you guys study the law in general. From a secular point of view, or
I don't
religious
know,
point of view?
because the amount of time I heard Americans like bringing up the amendments, like I wouldn't say that you do not use law the same way you do. You always talk like I have the freedom of speech. So what does that mean? It means that there is a law, and this is a respect of law. This is a declaration of belief, in a sense. So like I don't see that way.
How can I put it? So how can I put this?
Try to do it in a way that
And,
makes
and
sense.
okay, in our educational system, we learn about laws in school in general. There are varying degrees in which Americans learn about the laws and rights of Americans, and there are a range of outcomes based upon how much those laws are respected and confirmed in the households of Americans. So in many American households, we historically we have we have had laws that discriminated against certain groups, and historically we don't have a lot of sometimes respect for the law in general.
Yeah,
And
but
some
that's
people
human
treat,
nature. Just normal human nature, isn't it?
I would say some households treat the law as a convenient thing, while other people have a deep abiding respect for the law and it how it enables them to live a good life. So
Yeah. You know how many times like people attack Israel by using our own Jewish laws cynically when they don't follow them? Like, yeah, it's a mentality. 100%. Like, yeah, like you think every Jew is like not doing that? No, Jews also do that. It's human nature, which it doesn't mean that it's not ideal. There is always like, but it's still like that. Like I don't know if what America would be like now. There are forces like if you see like they're fighting free speech, they're fighting the Second Amendment, they're fighting everything that's American. So that is like as like there when they do that, they take away the basis of what America is. Because what is America without its amendments? What is it when people cannot say that they have the freedom of speech? What is it if people do not have the right to be? What is America then? It takes away everything. It takes away the story of America's creation. It takes away its history. It takes away everything. It takes the forefathers. It takes the national, like it takes it away. And this is breaking America apart because what is America if there is a lot of different people that just live there and you like it's like okay, so it's like the Native American tribes. It's not a nation anymore.
It's taking all the civil war.
yeah, there's this sort of I would say there's a cloud civil war right now. There are people who are on the internet who look for content that they agree with or disagree with, and they're hyper they're hyperactive. But then there's the everyday people who live in communities who aren't at war with each other here, and it's a lot more calm than you would believe if you aren't in America. It's a lot more calm than you would believe um, here. Well, especially I'm in Florida, so we don't have those we don't have the same friction as other larger cities like New York and Chicago have right now, especially with DNC happening. But yeah, I,
The
I'm
ideological based frictions are different than crime based frictions as well. So that's the thing.
I think
And
the I think go ahead.
and the thing is like once you tip the like that's once you fall into that, like once there is an actual like declaration on war on American values, then that's a bit too late, right? That's you're like, oh, that's it. You're in war and and everything is like it takes hours. like that's the thing. Like, takes hours. Guys, whoever wants to speak, just unmute yourself and start talking. There is a reason I added you all. It's not like I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah, I think everybody is just very respectable to one another over here, and we have a very long conversation with Stephen. We're trying to understand the Israeli perception in general. And despite what you think, Stephen, I don't think myself is very different perception. As we grew up on the Judo-Christian value, we have been taught the same morals and the same values as collective. And yeah, every collective got their own pieces of shit people. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about the people that do hold the law and that do hold morality and the values and carry it onward.
Yeah, just here. Somebody wants to say something.
Yeah.
Go.
Hi, Rebecca. Am I audible?
Hello. Wait, I
Hello.
think
Hi, I'm
Reinhardt.
Chinmay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Chinmay. I'm from Delhi, India. And regarding your money thing, I have a very simple solution. You should go to some ex-Muslim channels in India, and they talk about Israel, Palestine all the time. We really need to hear your perspective, because I found you when on your reaction to a Major Gaurav Arya video, and even people like him, they also can't speak openly.
Yeah.
Because of
Yeah.
many reasons, and he
Yeah.
was in the army, and there are many those things, but those people know. You also know they know the problems of
Yeah,
If you
and
have any ideas that you
I
think,
heard it from the inside. Yeah, I know you cannot speak. Like, I guess I have this freedom. I can say whatever I want.
if you have any idea of
ex-Muslims
channels
in
that you can actually send links to her DM, then you're, I think, more than welcome to.
Yes.
yes, there are many channels like ex-Muslim Sahil and many more. They openly discuss, but the problem is we don't hear an authentic Jewish perspective. Like, even the Judaism we know, like I watched a few of Rebecca's videos, and she has a very good grasp on things. And even the Judaism we Indians know is what the Muslims tell us. Like, Jews are
Amazing.
prophet killers and whatnot. They are, all the I notice another symptom. The more
You know, if we are
left
the
anyone
prophet
goes,
generators, I think it comes with the territory to have the right to also take them off sometimes.
I think it would be a very big
I'm sorry,
privilege
just
for
a
any
stupid
of.
meme. Yeah, I had
I
to
think.
make this stupid joke. Okay, you guys continue.
Sorry, I think it would be a very high privilege for any us Israeli to actually come to our ex-Muslim channel. The thing
yeah,
is
they're open
that
platforms. They're open platforms. Anyone can join.
yeah,
Anyone
but
can join.
yeah, if you can hear me out, my dude.
Yeah, please.
The thing is that we don't know what we don't know, so we don't know those channels. So if you can just share with us what you think is good, who you think is actually sincere or advocating for the right stuff, and what's on, that would just be very great, I think.
But mostly I think for Rebecca, ex-Muslim Sahil, he's the biggest ex-Muslim channel in India. He has
Oh,
more
I
than
agree.
800k views, subscribers, and but they don't basically talk about politics and stuff. They only highlight the dangers of Islam and all. And he's the only one ex-Muslim who's openly shown his face
I agree.
inside.
We also very much support India from Israel. We have a very great relationship with Indian people who actually come to work here, and
Yeah,
like
same,
we do
bro.
talk a lot.
Yeah, there are many Israelis in Himachal, especially in McLeodganj, and lot of after IDF they go there. I also myself go there. The photo you see is of that area, and they love to go there. Himachal, especially many Israeli friends.
Yeah, we like to
But
party.
yeah, and that is a party zone basically. Goa and Himachal, those two places. So, but the main issue is. We really need in India to hear authentic Jewish voices. Like, even the Jews who come, like the self-hating ones or the liberal Hindus, who hate their own people. Like, I have heard some anti-Zionist. What does that even mean? Anti-Zionist. He doesn't believe Israel shouldn't exist. Like, a Jewish person saying that. I couldn't believe it at first, but there are many of them,
I think the
especially in America.
anti-Zionism is very ironic to me because you believe that nobody have the right to, and no Jewish have the right to believe that they could go to Jerusalem. That's essentially anti-Zionism.
But even in the Jewish community, that's what I've found, because this problem exists also in India. Like another thing I've noticed: the more one turns left, they're all automatically anti-Semitic. Like even in India, like in India, we don't have any history of anti-Semitism. Jews have been living here for 2,000 odd years in India peacefully. Very small community, but nothing wrong has happened to them. Whatever wrong happened was also during the Christian Inquisition of Goa or something. One incident where Jews along with Hindus were also massacred in India. Only one instance in 2,000 odd years, and that was also done by foreign invaders basically. But then also we don't hear authentic Jewish voices in India. Like there was one Naftali Bennett, a YouTuber or something. He
Oh
did some
no.
things. Yes, but not Naftali Bennett. Naftali was a politician. He's also his name is also Naftali. I forget his name, but there are very few, only a handful. So
Yeah.
that's what I would recommend, Rebecca. Go to any ex-Muslim, big ex-Muslim channel, open debate, show your face, you can, and talk openly and freely about, because we, both of us, Israel and India, have a common enemy, and we have been suffering for the last 1,000 years. Your suffering has been longer than us, and I'm also glad, but I'm not glad for you guys that they hate you more than us, the Jews, for some reason.
I think you're wrong. It's just the enemy of the West, and India and Israel are both on the front lines in this battle. So
Yes.
this is why we feel it, and we are very highly connected
but
through
but
that.
you guys are surrounded by enemies from all sides. We are lucky enough that we have an ocean, very large ocean, and they couldn't conquer all of India basically, and they couldn't do the things that they did to like it took 30 years for them to destroy the Great Persian Empire, Islam, and 40 years to conquer and destroy Egypt and
They are
all
doing.
the areas. And it took them 400 years just to breach the boundaries of India. So
Yeah.
they couldn't, but they did a lot of massacres here, but we fought as well. We fought. And this
Oh,
thing
they are
about,
patient. They are patient people, but we are patient too. So don't worry about it.
yes. And Rebecca, another thing I would like to know, I asked in the chat as well.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of Muslims living inside Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a column, like, we have two enemies, like one is Pakistan and another is China. China doesn't do terrorism, at least. Their armies come out. Pakistan, the usual Islamic way, suicide bombing, bombs,
Yeah.
IDs, whatever. Same thing in Israel. Suicide. Yes, same exact things happens here. Not to a scale, because Israel is a much smaller territory, and it's not easy to infiltrate. But they somehow manage. They throw rockets, and I hear the news. And but it's a little more difficult for them to do in India. But the thing with this is we have a common enemy, and Indian people would love to hear your voice, and your channel will definitely grow if you do it.
Thank you.
I
By the
promise you.
way, you guys,
Yes.
everybody that is here that is listening, if just pick up your favorite video that you like of me that you listen to and share it with your friends, family. I don't care who.
Oh,
Just
by the way,
literally is like one ask that I have, like one call for to action that I have today, is that, because I think even that would make a big difference. So even just everybody is listening, if you can do that, that would really be helpful. All right, let's go back to topic. So when
okay. So
yeah, I
regarding
wanna. If you could drop the links, I would love it as well. By the way.
Yes, definitely, Rebecca. My one question was, how do you guys deal with the population in your own? Because you have a substantial population. Because your population, Jewish population, is not even 100 million, I guess, inside Israel. Am I right? 95 million something I read somewhere.
I thought it was like 15 million, but I could be wrong.
I'm confused about the numbers, but what do you mean 15, 10?
Okay, but it's very less, and you have around 2 million Arab Muslims living inside,
Right,
right?
right, right.
correct.
Right.
So
So
here's
we
the
call this, yeah, we call this, the population of these people living inside India as the fifth column of India, because they stand with the ummah. Even if they don't do anything now, they will bide their time. So I just want to know how Israel deals with this, because
Is
in India it's very difficult to deal with this.
You know that not all Muslim born the same. Some born to
no,
different sects. So there is also the
no,
Baha'i
that's
and the
wrong.
Druze.
Don't confuse him. That's wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for cutting you off. Don't confuse him. Don't believe that. I'll tell you how.
I know, Rebecca. I've read the Quran. I've read the Hadith.
No, it
I
has
know.
nothing
I
to
know
do
the
with
thing.
this or that. It's very basic. If somebody has even worse reputation than the Jews, it's the traitors that live in Israel. And that is solving a lot
Okay.
of problems. Yes, you get to have like those people who are still jihadists and they are 100% fifth column. A lot of them are. But what's even scarier is the fact that they know that the Arab world is waiting to avenge, to go against them because they had cooperated all those years. Every single moment that they are alive and they're not actively committing suicide bombing is another reason for them to get like revenge slaughtered. So if it's funny, but if there is somebody that is scared of Israel losing, is them, because a lot of them believe that their destiny is just as bad as the Jews, or if not worse.
Okay. But this doesn't work in India.
May
They're
I have
openly.
to, can I please chime in because I'm on my way to go and um, if that's okay. You guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm still at the introduction part, where we kind of took like half an hour with Stephen. I'm not too surprised. I'm actually quite familiar with both American sensitivities as well as sensibilities because I do have a cousin that lives in Miami, born and raised there. So yeah, small world. I'm also Norwegian born with a Norwegian father, but my mother is from Israel. It kind of makes this a little bit fun with Lionheart down here talking about the Jewish community because on my mother's side, well, her father again was born in India. Kind of looked like Gandhi, to be honest. So yeah, it is true. Like the Jewish community in India didn't have like even when it was really trendy, they didn't have any systematic persecution that was specifically targeted against the Jews for being Jewish. It would be something akin to what Lionheart would say, like the thing in Gao, which is part of the Inquisition. But if you look at the Inquisition, you will also see that while the Jews might have been one of the promoted targets, there were 10 times as more people that were non-Jewish people that were persecuted. So that kind of comes into play. Going to the point of money and how you can make money, I think it's
By the way,
precisely this
money.
thing
I
you're
want to say
talking about
thank you
here.
for Pathetic Hermetic for the super chat. It helps a lot. Thank you so much. You're amazing. That's it. Okay, continue.
Yes, and the super.
Yay.
But do you see? Do you see? That's a super. This is not even public, and here you're acquiring a super chat through an open live discussion with your audience. Now, if you were to be thinking this on YouTube, you
No, it's
can
on
imagine
YouTube,
it
from
easily being
YouTube.
filtered.
It's streamed on YouTube.
Is it streamed now on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Right now.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Cool. So we've been. Oh, damn. So we've been in public all the time without knowing. Well, there you go. So there you go. Proof of concept. You're gonna have the people super chat in order to run the discourse. Maybe they want someone to elaborate a little bit on the point. Maybe cut down the point a little bit. They want to hear someone. You get the yeah. So okay, lovely initiative. It's very delightful. I didn't even know this was public, but knowing that's like a nice way for me to kind of like call off. Thanks for having me on and. Can you try to do this like a weekly thing? Like you perhaps find regular days we're going to expect you.
Yeah, I'll try to do that. All right. Anyone want to suggest the last topic that you guys we wanna talk about?
Oh, I have one.
I just wanted
Like
to
and
do the
subscribe.
introduction as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, introduction and then.
Yeah, so I really
like and
enjoyed it.
subscribe. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
like and subscribe. Bye bye. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
met you like 2 years or almost 3 years ago, I think, when you did a video about Noah Trevor.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh my
Like,
God.
So I just like to do a lot of stuff on the computer, and I like some white noise on the background. So I just like to put some video views. And you started the pizza analogy videos back in the day. So yeah, I'm really from actually the old times when you opened the channel.
Oh my god, that's exciting. I love hearing that. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I'm happy. All right. Okay, any last topic, you guys? You should talk.
Yeah, Rebecca, are you aware about how they deal with them in China, the Muslims and the world? Even the Muslim world doesn't do a thing. Like, can we implement that model, the Chinese model? They've demolished over 60,000 mosques,
The
and
mental illness
Israel.
model.
If
No, I mean
the
the
Chinese
thing,
model,
the Chinese model. Okay, so you have to understand like the Chinese mentality. Like there are different mentalities. Hindu mentality is by definition opposing to that because you have a very liberal kind of mentality. Chinese
pluralistic.
mentality, the pluralistic, yeah, but I don't want to say like because I think even
We're not liberal.
like
Not
it's yeah,
anymore
it's
after
not liberal.
hearing what liberal means.
Yeah, I meant liberal, but like also pluralistic, but I also don't think it's pluralistic in necessarily the same sense that the Roman Empire was pluralistic.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
like they allowed different belief systems, which I feel is different with India. I feel like there is a moral system in India, not just
Yes, yes,
like
there is.
different gods. There is like there is like this is why I said when I made this short, this is why a lot of Jewish rabbis had concluded that Hinduism is not idolatry. It's not polytheistic, because what is
Yeah.
the way that Judaism like what's decides what's polytheistic and what's not is whether there is a one moral code or not. If there is underlying morality that is true no matter what, then that is one morality, that's one God. That's the logic
Yes.
that they apply.
That's called yeah, that's called Ishvara, the one God sort of thing. It's not Ishvara, Brahman, whatever. That's the thing. Yes. So the polytheism basically is Hinduism is not a religion. It's millions of religions. Everyone can have their own religion, but dharma, duty, the moral duty, that is one.
Exactly.
That is
So this
one,
is
and that yes,
this is why a lot of rabbis accept Hindu as not something that should be fought against, but something that is indeed like aligned with the Jewish values.
yeah, there are atheistic Hindus, and there are Hindus are against idolatry, but we allow to do people whatever they want. Like there's even a rat
Yeah,
temple in India.
yeah, but
People worship
I
rats, and
it's not
everything is allowed.
that. Okay, so the reason I say that, right? So the Hindu mentality, the Hindu cohesion story comes from shared some value system. That dharma and this values in China historically
Dharma.
they had managed dharma, yeah. So dharma is something that is the basis of India. The basis of
Yes.
China is a very strong bureaucratic system that they had
CCP, not
invented.
China. CCP.
I say China.
China is also,
I say China, I mean historic
but
place. Historic China.
historic China was, in my perspective, there were a lot of Chinese people who came to Nalanda to study, and they invited, like the story of Kung Fu, how a Buddhist monk from India went to China and taught them Kung Fu, basically.
Right.
So
No,
they
I
invited
don't.
people from here, and Buddhism and these things, the like before CCP, before everything, they were also very pluralistic. Basically, Chinese
I
people,
don't.
the ancient China. Yeah.
Yeah, but and I know what I say when I say China. I mean Asian China. Asian China was very bureaucracy based country. They would have a strict education system, and then they would send people from different districts to manage other districts. So there would be no emotional attachment, and that there would be no personal connections for their bureaucrats.
Okay, you mean the ruling bit?
Yeah, the ruling bit.
That is not.
So
Yeah.
yes,
Got it.
because of this bureaucratic system, right? China is better with implementing stuff, like implementing things not out of emotion. It's not emotionally based. When you have a moral system like Dharma, for example, and things even in Judaism, right? There is a lot of things that are like, it's also, you have to win people ideologically, not just technically.
Yes.
So in China
Agreed.
they have, so that what I'm saying, the solution that China has, the mentality that China has could not work probably in India. When you're saying they are demolishing mosques, no, that doesn't go, I don't know, like I'm not an expert in Hinduism, but that doesn't exactly, it's not the same, right? It's like you have to explain why it's the right thing to do in the dharmatic way. Versus China, where it's like, and that was always bureaucratically managed, is like, this is what the scholars and the bureaucrats agree is true, then they're gonna apply it, no strings, like there is no emotions there. It's just, okay.
Yeah. I'm not just talking about India specifically, but the rest of the democratic world, because
Same thing.
Islam is a problem in the democratic world,
Right,
not
same
in
thing.
yeah. Yes.
Right. Also, let me say thank you, Carlos Rodriguez, for the super chat. I don't know what
But
Sabranat is,
the
but thank you.
yeah, but the interesting thing is, even the Muslim world doesn't do anything. If Israel does 100/1000th of that, even if a Palestinian gets a pinprick, the whole Muslim world will,
Yeah, because they're
uh,
using the Jewish moral system when they are judging us, and they're using their own moral system when they're judging themselves. And this is, my friend, the Jewish definition of idolatry. Just for the record.
I guess idolatry is in this case is a
They have
relationship
different moral
outside of the law.
systems. They have
But yeah,
different moral
I
systems
mean,
that they
it's like
apply to Jews and to themselves.
Mm.
This is why it's by
Well,
definition
from my
in
perspective, and
idolatry.
correct me if I'm wrong,
Right.
but there's people say Muslim world, but it's more like Muslim tribes and non-Muslim tribes.
The
From my
Muslim world is
perspective,
correct because this is the exact, like the way that what you just described fits the Islamic ideology. They have different moral standards, depends on whether you're in the group or out of the group. So
Darul Islam, Darul Harb.
Exactly. Different morality, like completely different judgment system. This is why they are like, this is why Jews that like rabbis that, so the problem with a lot of rabbis that they couldn't say what Islam really is because the lack of freedom of speech, and what happened to Jews who said what they really thought. So they would encrypted it, but it's very different. You can see how direct I am. Jews were always very direct. So for many, many years, rabbis were confused by the indirect speech that were applied by Jews by Jews who lived in Islamic countries. It really threw them off. And only now that rabbis are like, okay, starting to understand that Islam is the definition of idolatry, because there is no one unified moral system. Now it doesn't matter who you are, but different morals depending on who you are, which is the idolatry.
Rebecca, do you know the Jewish claim in the Quran about, like they say, the Nisara they call Christians, they worship Isa, like they change all the names. Abraham becomes Ibrahim. It's just a badly copied version. They couldn't. Muhammad was an illiterate guy. He couldn't read or write, and he heard stories, and he just whatever things he could remember, he just like they say. Jews worship Ezra as the son of God, and I've never met a single Jew who says that, or in
see,
history. It's in the
I,
Quran, basically. This thing.
I don't want to
I've
go
heard,
into that because I don't. Let's
I've
not go
heard,
into that, please, guys.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'm gonna cut it. I don't want to open
yeah.
that branch. I want to answer the question that you actually asked. Like, so I say fundamentally, India cannot do it the way China does it. All right.
Yeah. Or any
But
democratic country could do it, I would say.
Well,
but
China,
right. if I were like the way I say it is that you have to see and like through your morality win the argument that says the moral thing to do is to destroy those mosques. It is that because technically, yes, it is the right thing to do, but also why it's the why it's the like
Yes,
why
even
is
in
it
Hinduism. Yes, Rebecca, even in Hinduism, the highest duty of dharma is to destroy a dharma. It's very similar to Judaism in that regard.
yes.
The
So a
Right.
lot
highest
of
duty.
people, I think I've noticed something that was done to Hinduism and the same thing was done to Judaism. Christianity is a little bit like that as well. That or Christian preachers or the church, because really I don't believe that Christianity is really a different religion than Judaism. It's just
Yeah, same like
I'm making
Hinduism
a
and
video.
Buddhism.
I'm making a video about it, but
Christianity, 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 in
but
my go ahead.
wait, like let me just. I'm making a video on it. It's more complicated than just simply saying that. If you dig
Yeah, Rebecca,
if you dig enough
from the
in
Indian yeah.
Christianity, you're gonna get rich to Judaism. I don't. If you dig enough in Buddhism, you're gonna reach Hinduism. Maybe I don't know. So
Yes,
from the
exactly,
dynamic
exactly.
perspective, but here's what was happening. Both religions, right? If it's by Gandhi or whatever, Hinduism was started like this pacifistic, pluralistic,
No, it was
kind of.
no, no.
And in Judah, which I know it's a lie, right? So with Judaism, it's the same.
Yeah,
It's like tikkun olam. Tolerance, love the neighbor, the which is true, and also freedom of speech, freedom of criticism are ingrained in Judaism. Those are Jewish values. But
same in
there
Hinduism,
is
basically.
no
Yes,
the same. So the same thing, like you take away the way, like you stress or like, why are you supposed to love the neighbor? Isn't it like a fundamental concept? Yes, it is, but also like destroying the idolaters, those who do not follow the same value system as you, is also part of Judaism, which to me was funny. So many American Jews are not even aware of that, right? So I remember somebody making Twitter like, no, but Judaism, what the Israel is doing is against the Jewish faith. Like, no way. Like, this is, I was like, I mean, dude, what? Like, go read this, and that. Like, what Israel is doing is tame compared to what Judaism actually says that you're supposed to be doing, right? But the thing is like, but the thing that the October 7th did is like a lot of Israelis Jews went back to their sources. The Torah and the Bible it took 1,000 years to write that. The laws that were described there describe the conclusions of a nation, that it took 1,000 years, a millennia, to learn everything that's written there, a millennia. So
same thing exactly with the Rebecca, with the Vedas as well. It took thousands upon thousands of years to compile the Vedas.
exactly,
Veda means knowledge, basically. So
right.
it didn't happen overnight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is why
Uh,
I really
From a
think that it's
Christian,
in both. Hmm?
from a Christian point of view, it was
Right.
an interpreted religion before it was a studied religion in the Christian world. It was dictated from priest to parishioner before it was even
Right.
a studied religion. Right. So people got the spirit of this Christian Judean teaching, but they
Hmm.
didn't learn it firsthand. And in
Right.
America as well, I was learning as well.
Yeah. Which is different from Judaism that dictates that a Jew are supposed to be studying all the time. Like nobody is exempt from studying. But
From from my perspective, I've always thought of Judaism as something that's hard to enter into, but as comparing it to general, multi-denominational Christianity. I mean,
mhm,
you don't have to study. It's more of a subjective. You enter into Christianity in a subjective way. It's subject to your personal relationship with your
right.
belief in Jesus Christ, right, or however you believe your approach to Christ is. But Judaism is different, and it is more of a appeal to study and learning, and opposed to it's an objective knowledge, not a subjective belief. If that does that make sense to you guys or no?
Yes, it does, but it kind of diverges from what's the so because I want to say like for the question that Lionheart asked me, which I don't know your, but I'm using your username if that's okay. So
Yeah,
when I'm talking to Hindus, like, and I get this opportunity, I tell them like the same with Israel, like going back to your roots, like being strong in your Judaism is how we fight in Israel. And being strong with your Hinduism, which allows atheism, right? Just the way Judaism does. I can be an atheist Jew, and there are also rabbis that would say the most authentic monotheistic way you can believe in God would be being an atheist, because you
it's called Charvak.
actively
It's called
because
Charvak
you
in Hinduism.
yeah, it's because you're actively refusing in creating an image, which is like the
Yes.
like you, so it's like perfect, like exactly what, and you don't speak in the name of God because you're an atheist, like you got those commandments covered. So
But
I know like
the thing,
Hinduism is
Rebecca, is we just want to hear authentic Jewish voices in India. That was my main point, and you would
right,
benefit a lot monetarily from it as well.
right.
That was the initial point. Yes.
Yeah, no, I know, I just want to say the China thing. So Israel
Yeah.
also is a very precarious, a way more extreme situation. But you can see that Israel and Jews are a lot less susceptible to falling into believing what the like into adopting the other side's customs and traditions, right? So this is something I say to him is like, and when I talk to Hindu, right now it's not the time to criticize Hinduism. Now it's time to use Hinduism correctly as a tool, and what you have learned by having this data and information collected over the year, and be confident in Hinduism, like in everything that you've learned and the value of that and the wisdom of it. Like you don't have to believe in gods or God, or and like it accepts atheism just as Judaism does. But no matter what perspective you come from, the value of having all this knowledge accumulated is priceless. Is priceless. And
Yes.
and so I say, like, what makes Jews more immune and Israelis more immune to, is the fact that like those values are so ingrained, and then like this, that who you are, and even guys coming from that gives you like an enormous amount of strength. And then the question is like, okay, so how do we apply it? What we know.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
Mm.
But it's quite difficult in India.
It,
1.4 billion people.
yeah. But it
It's
just
very
like,
challenging. And
but like it's everybody's taking their step, just like I did. We fell asleep on the wheel. It's not. Yeah, I made some videos, but that doesn't mean like it's not like the way I did now. Maybe if I did it full time 2 years ago, right, then our mindset would have been not as. We wouldn't have fallen on the guard the way that we did necessarily, right? Like it wouldn't be as shocking. But that's the
yes,
thing. Like if people
and
don't
I also
speak up, then people fall asleep. Then people are not aware.
yes, and that's what I feel in Europe and in America and those places where they have not encountered Islam like Jews and Hindus have. They are not aware, basically. They're not aware. Then they don't know what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And it's a generational thing. The radicalization keeps on increasing generation after generation. Like, the fresh converts, they're not jihadis, basically. But in the system of the mosques and the madrasas, their consequent generation, there is no stopping them because criticism is not allowed. And generation after generation, the radicalization, like, in India, it's very sad that the same people who were taken as slaves, and these are the descendants basically of those people, they treat those people who took them as slaves as their heroes because they killed Hindus, they killed mushriks, the kafirs,
Yeah.
so They don't even
So
care
just
about
the
their own
way
blood, their own ancestors.
they are confident in their craziness, you should be confident in what, like, you accumulated as a nation. You're real, something to be really proud of, not a fake wannabe something like Islam is. By the way, guys,
They are proud
it's gonna cut
of
off soon.
villains.
Just so you know,
Yeah, yeah.
probably there is a chance
I'm
that
done.
my battery is running low. So yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to.
I'm done. I just wanted to say
Okay.
hi and suggest this thing. Like in India, the population plays a part, and everyone has internet, and they're interested to listen to a Jewish perspective. Like we know we have a common enemy, the Jewish people and the Hindu people. Also the other minorities in India, like very Jains, Buddhists, Sikhs, everyone. We're united against this, and we don't hear authentic Jewish voices. We hear the Islamic propaganda about the Jews
Yeah,
most
just
of the time, and there are not
feel
enough Jewish
free
voices at least
to
in
write
India.
it on the Discord. Drop the links, and I promise to.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you
I
so
will. I
much.
will. Just appear and speak your mind, just like the way you are. No need to tone down. We like directness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
So no need to tone down. No need
Thank
to
you
just
very
speak
much.
your mind openly and freely.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Thank you. Thank
especially
you so
like
much.
the fact that you have more and more put a call to action to support you on the different platforms and to play in the videos. I realize a lot of people in the comments on YouTube are hate watching you in a sense. That they're watching the topics you cover just to comment negative things.
All
I'm like,
right,
there's a lot of
so
comments,
watch
but
it.
I mean,
I
it's
would
a
say,
peace
Send it. Send
algorithm,
it to
God.
more
It's
and
good.
haters. Bring more. Bring your friends to hate on me as well. I'm here.
Hi there. Hey, how are you guys?
Hey, how you doing?
hello.
Sorry, Rebecca. I wanted to ask you, will you be online on Discord again? Like, will you do another live stream on Discord again?
Yeah, I would. I
Anytime
would.
soon?
I would. I would.
Ah, okay.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
this
would.
is
I would.
it
I
is
would.
yeah, this is pretty much my first time speaking on the Discord, like on live, so
Welcome.
strange.
I'm a bit stressed because I like last time that my computer like ran out of battery. Like I couldn't even finish the stream, so it would continue streaming, and I have no way to actually finish the stream.
Ah, okay.
You're just like
Yeah, like
blackout, but it continues, And like I couldn't do it from my phone, so like, I'm stressing. I don't want to be like, oh,
yeah, like
it's fine.
I just wanted to say that obviously, remember when I mentioned I'm from Central Europe and like we did actually have history with Islam, like being under, being colonized and invaded by Muslims, like during the Ottoman Empire. Like we were, like like uh, like ethnically, I'm Hungarian, and we were under the Ottomans for about 150 years, and like the first time they took us over, like they took about 150, about 100,000 slaves, and they took like several hundreds of thousands of children and converted them to Islam against their will. So it's like we don't. I personally don't exactly view Islam, in much of a favor. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Islam
yeah,
I'm
like
has
so
committed many atrocities like that.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I can't remember what the other person mentioned before that that we Europeans don't really have much experience with Muslims, but we actually do. Like if you look at Central, Eastern, or Balkan Europe, like like these were areas that were under the Ottoman Empire for centuries, and like we fought back and forth, etc. Of course, ethnically, like me as a Hungarian, like we look at the Turks as our distant ethnic cousins, so we don't hate each other as we used to, like hundreds of years ago. It's just the differences in religion. Like we we when it comes to religion, like we generally tend to avoid like getting into like a debate when it comes to like religion, especially when it comes to Turks, because it's like, well, whatever the Turks did to us Hungarians, like well, it happened centuries ago, and then eventually after a while we came to eventually we made connections, we made peace with one another, we made peace with one another, and like today, like we look at each other as distant siblings, as distant cousins, like, you know, and there's the connection between us is really deep. So it's like, whenever I see like Erdogan, like like saying whatever he does, like saying whatever he wants to do to Israel, it's like it bothers me because like it's like when you see a family member doing something bad to another person, like you do acknowledge that whatever the family member is doing is bad, but
Yeah.
it's like it's hard to go against your family member,
But it's
especially
your
like
job
after
as a
so long.
family
Like,
member to call it out. I would say that.
yeah, that's true. Like, you don't get me wrong. Like, you know, when it comes to like when it
I
comes to
think
debating Muslims, I do always bring out like, you know, the Ottoman Empire, because they always have this. They always try to portray this image as, oh, we Muslims, we either never had an empire the way the Westerners did, etc. Yeah, you did. Like, you guys did just as many bad
Oh
things as,
yeah,
you know,
they
as
don't.
those
Of
in the
course,
West.
they just lie.
No, because it's like they pretty much laid down the foundations
Okay,
of
guys, I really don't.
separatism.
if I can go to the point, I think he's having a very good point that it's not only Israel and India. We can actually find a lot of more countries that were inflicted with Islam morals and values, and we got to that point.
And everybody that
So
warned should be warned as
Well,
well.
don't get me wrong.
Guys, I'm so
Sorry.
sorry. I'm gonna. That's it. I'm gonna
Oh,
finish
sorry.
off
Okay,
this.
fair enough.
I'm gonna let me
Yeah, we
say
do another
bye to
lecture.
the. Let me say wait. Let me just say bye to the YouTube. I'm gonna tell you bye as well afterwards. But yeah, let me say. And Takatin, welcome to Rebecca's Bosses Club, new member. Thank you all for watching and have a good night. And I'm gonna do this again. Don't worry. So don't
Goodbye.
forget the action item that you have. Everybody, right? Choose your favorite video and share it as much as you can. It would really, really help me. Thank you so much. See you. Good night.